Hi, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Let me see. Let me make sure my mic is working here. I keep trying to mess with the settings. I think it is. I think, can we hear me good, well enough? Should I up it a little bit? Maybe I will up it a little bit. Let me quickly, boo, 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 a little bit up there, a little bit up there. Okay, okay, okay. Is that better? A little bit better. It felt like it wasn't loud enough. Okay. Hi, everyone. I don't know why I'm very in a good mood, very in a good mood today. I don't know why. It's a good thing though. Here, let me move my camera around a little bit so you don't see. Um, there we go. So I don't see. There we go. Okay, okay, okay. All right. Let me see who we got here. Who do we got here? I know we got Big Braden here, as always, hero of the show. Uh, I know we got some other folks. I know we got Macy too. Let me get in here. All right, who do we got here? Morning, Macon. Okay, let me see. Who do we got? Who do we got? We got London. Good, of course, another hero of the show. Hello, London. London, I'm going to be sending you a message soon because you deserve some sort of compensation for all the stuff you've done on Discord. Just letting you know. Big Braden. Oh, of course, Big Braden. Of course. Yeah, Big Brain does say it sounds like I'm going to be reacting to that's a fair point. Reacting to socialism, Marxism. I am not, but I will be talking about it. Um, let me see here. Lee Martin. Good morning. I know I've seen you in chat before. Thank you for stopping by. You got the nice little Jester hat next to your name. You must be a member now. Thank you, Lee Martin, for joining as a member. Macy's here. Oh, love Macy. Hello, Macy. Uh, another hero fixture of the show here. Big Braden. I already said from him. Hey, Alyssa's here. Oh, you changed your name, Alyssa. Okay, well, Alyssa, hello. Another fixture here. By the way, folks, I did add a new emoji. I will change the background color, but I'll put it here in the chat. It is so if you become a member, you can use these emojis. There are several right now. Yeah, you can see them there. You can click the join button underneath the video or somewhere on my channel. You can, for little as 99 cents a month, unlock all these beautiful emojis and that cute little Jester hat next to the names of people who are members. Lee Martin says, fairly new. I caught the Jubilee reactions, then saw the video about getting fired for calling fascism what it is and decided to subscribe. Seems to me that teachers should be supported. Lee Martin, thank you very much for that. Yeah, I'm still kind of coping with that. Let's put it that way. Okay, thank you, Big Braden, for complimenting the emoji. Macy, as always, almost always the first super chat. Macy says 5 super chats and he will put on the Jester hat. That is 100% true, Macy. We already have one. I don't know why it doesn't say. It only says that it doesn't say we have any, but we have one, so we only need 4 more. If we get 4 more super chats, of course, the Jester hat will come on. All right. Alan W is here. Good. Another great member here. One of the originals, one of the established heroes here. Um, Resident Union Thug, that was terrifying. Are you referring to me looking into the camera in a creepy way, Resident Union Thug? Because yeah, that was my intention. Gail Artie's Druzilla, hello, Druzilla. Another person who's been around for quite a while now. Megan again, Megan, another regular here. I've seen Megan multiple times. And Toya, fantastic. You know, Toya, whenever I see your name, I think of Tora, which is the Japanese word for attack and was the last order given to attack Pearl Harbor. Tora, attack. Just a side note there, Toya, very another regular here. Wolfie, I haven't seen you in a few streams. I get it though, people work and things like that, but glad to see you back here, Wolfie. Okay, okay, bruh moment. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, bruh moment, but hey, I'm also happy for you. That's you're going to college. I believe, right? Bruh Moment says, this will probably be the last day I'll be in the stream for a bit. Tomorrow is moving day and I'll be ungodly busy starting the 25th. Bruh Moment, good luck to you. I already know you're going to do fine. I can tell because Bruh Moment being one of our resident scholars here of history. Good luck, Bruh Moment, and also have fun, okay? Druzilla, thank you for becoming a resistor. Druzilla now having a little Jester hat next to his name, her name, his name, their name. All right. Okay, thank you. Oz is here again, another regular here, folks. Okay, yes, please don't forget to like the video. No problem, Oz. Uh, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, Oz. Thank you for doing that. Okay. All right, folks. So, we got a lot of good folks here. Please like the stream if you haven't already. That'll help get more people in here, as always, right? If you would like to become a member, you can do so on the join page. And there's also a Patreon. If you'd like, for $5 a month, become a supporter of the channel, help me upgrade my equipment and such. I would really appreciate it. Okay. So, and Jazznaz Gaming is here, another regular. Hello, Jazznaz Gaming. Um, okay. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, thank you, Wolfie. Yes, please like the stream, get more people in here. All right. So, and again, folks, I'll say one more time here, 4 more super chats, and I'll put on the Jester hat. I do have a little treat for you all today. If we get to 15 super chats, we've only really done that once. But if we get to 15 super chats, I will show you a captured, this is not an exaggeration, a captured Nazi flag from World War II that my grandfather brought back from the war. So if we get to 15, I will do a little show and tell of the captured Nazi flag. Okay, if anyone is interested. Taylor, hey, welcome to the stream, Taylor. You're a new sub, fantastic. Welcome to the stream, Taylor. Okay. Also, folks, yeah, we do have a lovely little Discord community going on here. Love the conversations going on there. Although I will say pineapple is terrible on pizza, and that is a fact, and we're going to make that a dogma. Alyssa, before you even say anything, just don't. Okay, just don't. All right. Uh, oh, Lee Lane here. I was wondering where Lee Lane is. Hello, Lee, another great regular on the show, establishment. Why am I calling it a show now? Okay, well, whatever the case, Lee Lane, also one of the originals. Also, Lee Lane, again, I did say that pineapple does not belong on pizza. And Lee Lane, you will also not say anything about that. It is now a dogma of the community. Okay. Anyway. Thank you, Jazz Naz Gaming. Hey, you guys are really helping me promote it. Thank you very much. It can be exhausting. Okay, it's kind of against my nature too. So, all right. Okay, guys. So, what we're going to do today? We have a few things. First, we're going to talk about. Let me start here. I have been getting so many recommendations on things to do live streams on. I have a running list. Someone asked me to do this a long time ago, like a week ago or so, to talk about Marxism, socialism, capitalism. So I'm going to do that now. Uh, I promise you, I will get to some of the things you have recommended to me. But as you can see, it's a slow process. But if you hold on, I will eventually get to those things. Please keep sending me suggestions, recommendations. I have been looking at the suggestions channel on YouTube. Um, okay, he is a dictator. Alyssa, how dare you? Okay, I am not a dictator. Okay, what, me? Me? Okay, all right. Yeah, how dare you? All right, so let's take a look here. I think we actually almost have 5 now. I don't know why the super chats aren't updating. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4. One more I'll put on the Jester hat. Okay. Shut is here. Hello, Shut. Another regular on the show. Fantastic. And we got a couple moderators here, I believe. Shut and Big Braden. If Big Braden, I hope you don't mind being moderator again. Off to the gulags. Oh goodness. Yeah. Yeah, I need some more money before I can establish that. Okay. uh uh oh, Victoria. Oh, Victoria, I'm sorry if I've misgendered you at any given point. Hello, Victoria. Toya. I mean, I know I'm slaughtering that. I am an American after all. I do apologize, but glad to see you here. Okay. All right, folks. So, got a couple things. Something else I wanted to show all of you. All right, so so for the regulars here especially, what do we think about adding this to the wall behind me? Can you see it? Can you see it? Does it look good? Um, do we see this? Can you see it very well? I want to make sure you can kind of see it. This is a image. It is a piece of art my sister got me actually, and it is right. Okay, right. Shut. It is an image of 2 English police officers making out. I believe this is by, oh, what is his name? Banksy. Okay. Do we like it? Do we like it? I just like I don't know. It speaks to me somehow. I think, but well, I'll put that on the wall behind me here soon. Okay, good. I thought you would like that. All right, we'll do that. We will definitely do that. Okay. Um, yeah, I will definitely put it up. I'll put that on the back wall here in a second. I'm still trying to find some better decorations and stuff for the back here. Um, but I will get to that. And also, I'm going to get some better lighting so it looks a bit better. All right, folks. Okay. Jazznaz Gaming. Hi. Hey, that's my local Bobby. For those who don't know, Bobby being police officer, sort of a colloquial phrase in the UK. Oh, woof. All right. That's why you don't vape. Resident Union Thug says, best sister ever. Yes, she absolutely is. Best sister ever. And by the way, folks, I'm actually a twin. I don't know if I ever told you that, but my sister and I, we are actually twins. So I am a twin. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, okay. I love British Sling too, Big Braden. I love it. Some great stuff there. Okay. So, our first topic today, and for those in the chat, okay, let me preface this. Uh, I am a lefty, all right, and I know a lot of my community are lefties. That being said, okay, Marxism. Let's talk about this a bit, okay? And I want okay, let me go to this. Let me get back to this here. Okay. All right, let's get this going live stream. Okay. Now, uh that's not the topic anymore. We'll just okay, I should have updated the topic. Okay. So, what we're going to do yeah, lefty supreme, Alyssa, absolutely. So, I am going to talk about Marxism. Um and we're also going to and through this we're going to talk about what Marxism is, what capitalism is, what socialism is, and what communism is. Now, before anyone who's watching, knowing that I am a leftist, thinks I'm trying to indoctrinate you or anything, I want to make something very clear, okay? That's not my goal, obviously. My goal here is to explain Marxism, which, by all accounts, by almost every academic I'm aware of, is the closest thing, or Karl Marx was the closest thing that the social sciences have to a Darwin for the social sciences, okay? Uh, Now, the social sciences are not are not a hard science, okay? They are not nearly as, I guess, empirically based as like chemistry, things like that. But Karl Marx, his ideas are were completely changed many fields of social science, sociology, economics, history, things like that, because his approach is the closest thing we have to sort of an all-encompassing theory that can explain a lot of stuff. Shut again being horny in chat here. Shut says just hard for science. Okay, Alan W. Do you think that the modern socialist movement has moved away from the actual teachings of Marx? I see some contradictions in his writing compared to some of the stuff I need today. Absolutely, and here's the thing. Yeah, he's very important in history. And here's the thing, Alan W. Um, yeah, and to be honest, Alan W., and this might spark some. No problem, Grace Abrams. Grace Abrams, another regular. Welcome, Grace Abrams. Glad to see you here. The thing about Marx, okay, is this might cause some lefty infighting, but he was not perfect. That's why I said it's the closest theory we have to Darwin's theories in biology. But he was not perfect, and I will highlight some of my issues with Marxism, with Marxist thoughts, and I will highlight some of the critiques of Marxism. So please hold on for that. Also, as I'm talking about this, I may do some critiques, but be aware I will later talk about how some of these are flawed, because you will notice some things that might be a little off about how he viewed things. Okay. Um, yeah, no, you're right, Bruh Moment. Bruh Moment says orthodox Marxist thinking isn't really a feature in modern socialist movements. You never see anyone nowadays with influence talking about dialectical material. Absolutely, okay. Yeah, I agree, Bruh Moment. But I have in the past when I've been around other lefties. if I am nuanced about Marx, can't criticize the the leader, right? Okay, but anyway, so I do have some critiques there. Grace Abrams says Marx invested in the stock market. That is very true, Grace Abrams. Karl Marx was quite intelligent. He knew how to sort of exploit. Yeah, he did. Okay, it's not like he completely shrugged off engaging in capitalist things. Yeah, he invested in the stock market. Okay. Um, so let's get into this, okay? Let me take another hit here, okay? Just well, don't. And by the way, folks, uh, uh, agreed. No one is above criticism. Thank you, Big Braden. Okay. Again, don't. No one vape. Vaping is bad for you. Okay. Even if you see me do it, it'll kill you. Very bad for you. Okay. Macy with the super chat. Macy, once again, coming in clutch for the whole community here. Macy Schroeder says, please, please, please listen to Why Socialism by Hobo Johnson. Macy, I will make a note of that. Let me do that right now. I do finally have a little book out in front of me so I can make notes of these things. I will do that. Okay, that is 5 super chats, folks. So again, now I'm automatically basically putting on the Jester hat. Great. 100% Grace Abrams. I'm going to mention that actually. Oh, really? That's number 4? Let me see. 1, 2. I don't know why that's a 2, 3. Oh, you're right. Oh, thank you, Alice. Thank you for letting me disappoint the community. Yes. Okay. Well, I guess we need one more super chat, and then I will put on the Jester hat. Okay. All right. So let's continue. Now, Grace, I want to mention right, right, Oz, new record. So, Grace makes a good point here. Grace says Marx based some of his thinking on the idea of utopia, which is based on a Catholic Christian idea of heaven. Absolutely. And if for folks that were in Discord yesterday, I even mentioned that. I think it was actually who was it? Was it Alan in chat yesterday who or in Discord yesterday that mentioned that if Jesus came back today, he'd be viewed as a communist. Okay. Uh, that is not terribly inaccurate. Okay. Now, there are some. I mean, I'm a historian, so I don't like making one-to-one comparisons like that. But regardless, that is true. Okay, in a lot of ways. Make it happen. Ah, Oz coming in clutch for the community. All right, Oz, I'll make it happen. Thank you for the super chat, Oz. Put it on the Jester hat. Um, all right. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's better. Given what we're going to be talking about, the bourgeois and stuff today, we're going to need a little hat for criticism. Okay, let's take a look. So, I'm going to reset a new super chat goal. For some reason, the only one it registered was Oz's. I guess that's just because Oz is so awesome that the super chat thing was okay. I don't know. All right, let me put in a new one now. The next goal here is I'll put on the collar. Once we get to 50, oh, okay, let me do this. Oh, boop, 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 boop. Get out of there. All right. Um, remove goal, remove, and then we'll do a new one. Start another goal. So once we get 5 more, I'll put on the collar. After that, if we get to 15, so 10 more, I will then do a little show and tell of a captured Nazi flag. Okay. Um, all right. 3 hours. Let's go. So the K collar, collar. All right. There we go. All right, folks. Now, if we do, by the way, get to the oh God, thank you, Macy. Okay, well, technically we have. Gee, I don't know why that's not updating. Technically, we have 1 super chat, so we only need 4 more, and I'll put on the collar. Okay. Big Braden, yeah. So angles, honestly, Big Braden, I'm not really going to go over angles just for the sake of clarity, but I should point out that a lot of this thinking is also a part of Engels thinking, and it's kind of historically incorrect to me to just attribute this stuff to Karl Marx because Engels was a big influence, was a big part of all of this. Okay, thank you for pointing that out, though, Big Braden. Alyssa, thank you so much for putting up the little thing there. Uh, Grace Abrams, utopia is meant to, yeah, that Grace Abrams, that is a perfectly acceptable critique here. That is one of the critiques of Marxism. So Marxism. So Grace Abrams says utopia is meant to sort of like describe a place where lions lay down with lambs, aka heaven. Doesn't work. A world needs human motivation and agencies to succeed. So, Grace, later you're going to see I have some critiques of Marxism and the sort of end goal that Marxism has of sort of a communist society. There are some issues with that, kind of in line with what you're saying, Grace. And so we will talk about that, okay? Okay, so let's get into this. So Marxism, shockingly, folks, is based off a guy named Karl Marx. You can look up a picture of him if you like. He had a tremendously lovely beard. Okay, and so, but let's continue. He was born in Germany. Got without going into too much history here, because of his views, he got kicked out of Germany. Ended up eventually got to England, where he settled down with Engels and started writing some stuff. Um, yeah, I agree. I don't, and the lot you'll see here when I talk about what Marx envisioned for an end society, I do not see that happening anytime soon, if ever, just by the nature of human civilization and stuff, in history, but we'll talk about it, okay? Um, all right. Okay, so I have a page here. Now I'm going to explain this as best I can. I will say I'm sort of, I should say, trying to simplify this a bit because Marxist theory is very complex. It's very complex. Okay, there's a lot to it, and so I'm going to try and break it down in a way that's more comprehensible for folks. So I want you to imagine this. Okay, so throughout history, yeah, right into historical materialism. Okay, with throughout history, there have been different ways our economies are organized. All right. This makes sense, right? For example, you have slave societies, in which case there are slave owners and there are slaves. All right. Uh, you also have feudal societies where the economy is based on having landlords, lords, okay, or in kings and stuff who rule over much larger underclass called the serfs or peasants, okay? In each of these economic systems, there's always two classes or two groups of people. There's sort of a class that has power, and then there is a class that does labor for those people in power. All right, does that make sense? Okay. Marx pointed this out, and he said that the basically how history develops over time is a consequence of conflict between the ruling class and the lower class, okay? So every history is a constant battle between the lower class and the upper class, and over time that battle sort of creates history. It creates the things that happen in history. All right? Now, anyone need clarity on that? I know I'm pulling a teacher move here. So over time that sort of class conflict moves history along. Now then, okay, what ends up happening here, folks? All right, uh, is over time these two classes, regardless of the mode of production, so regardless of whether it's a slave society or a Grace Abrams, I actually absolutely agree with you. So Grace Abrams, I actually used to use this as an example for my students. I'll talk about the kibbutz. Yeah, that's absolutely true. So in Israel, folks, there are communities that are, and you know what? I'll talk about it later just because it won't make sense right now. But Grace, absolutely right there. Grace says the only place where the Marxism idea has worked to a certain extent is the kibbutz system that were started in Israel to foster a community that was coming from Eastern Europe and the USA in the 1950s. That's very true. Now, there may have been other times and places where, like for example, monks in medieval Europe kind of had a communal society. But you're right, the kibbutzes are a perfect example of this. Okay, um, I've always wanted to go visit a kibbutz just to see what it's like. Thank you very much, Dubois here, Jay Dubois, for the super chat. Yo, uh, I didn't think I would. I'm sorry, I didn't think I would think this, but um, but I'm starting to think of wanting to be a politician in my home state. But I'm not old enough. But still, hey, I support that. You please go become a politician. Don't be corrupt and fight for the people, please, 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 Jay Dubois. Okay, we need more folks doing that. Okay, so we now have what uh, we got two super chats, three more. I'll put on the caller. Okay, so as this conflict happens, it moves history along, and always what ends up happening is that this conflict is unsustainable, and what ends up happening is that the lower class revolts and creates a new economic system. Okay, does that make sense? So, for example, back in way back when practically everywhere was a slave society, eventually those slaves kind of rose up and replaced the owning class, okay, and sort of formed a new society under feudalism. By the way, there was a revolution where basically the serfs and lower classes revolted, overthrew the ruling class of the nobles, and established their own society. Two examples of this, folks: the French Revolution and the American Revolution. Both of these events were largely, now this is an oversimplification, but it was lower classes and sort of middling classes revolting against feudalism and establishing capitalism. Okay, so this does happen. Okay, there are revolutions based off economic distress. Now, I'll talk about another one of Marx's flaws later. Okay. Yeah, the one of many French revolutions. Um, okay. So I will talk about yeah, okay. So that happens. And the most recent form of this, the system we are currently in, the economic system we're currently in, is capitalism. Now, yes, Marx uh, did not like capitalism. He thought it was very flawed. That being said, he actually, folks, if you read his books, has a lot of positive things to say about capitalism because, yes, it was still much better than feudalism and much better than slavery, okay, in his estimation. Yeah, resident union thug, boo capitalism. Yeah, I get that, and you're going to see that Marx basically agreed the same way. There was still class conflict going on, but it was much better than like living as a serf, okay, or living as a slave. And I have heard people make arguments against this, but generally I would agree with that. And if you look historically, with the birth of capitalism, like the standard of living went up for almost everyone, even poorer folks. The standard of living went up, and there was massive there is still massive technological innovation. There are some things about capitalism that are good relative to the economic system that came before, right? At least most of us, I'm guessing all of us, don't have to sit on a piece of land our whole lives working for a lord. Okay, so no, I say resident union thug. So yay, capitalism? Question mark. No, I'm not saying that. Okay, I know, I'm angry now. Yes, okay. Tiago, absolutely. And Marx talks about this, how the problem with all these systems is the greed of the upper class. And that is the nature of having a class with so much power. They typically look out for their own interests. Okay. Now, let's go on here. So we get his general idea, and that's called historical materialism. I view that history develops over time through class conflict. Yeah, Grace Abrams, absolutely, and there were a lot of failed attempts at this. Yep. Okay. All right, let's go on. So now let's talk about capitalism, and let's just see in chat. I'm guessing. See you later. London. Great job doing some chores. Okay. Uh, Marx, under capitalism, he was obsessed with capitalism and the problems with it. Okay. He said that in under capitalism, there are essentially two classes. I'm kind of oversimplifying. Um, love the vocabulary lessons. Thank you, Macy, very much. Thank you very much. So, folks, we got two more, and I will put on the caller. Thank you again, Macy, as always. Okay. Um, so here we go. The two classes, and folks, I want you all to think of your own experience here because Marxism is very useful for kind of looking at the capitalist society the way it is and stuff. There is a lot of value there. Again, we can disagree about his conclusions about where it goes, but there is a lot of truth to what he says. Okay. Um, so that's why I like this call. Uh, okay, here we go. Um, so under capitalism, there are two classes: the bourgeoisie, which I will interchangeably use with the owning class. Okay, exactly, bruh moment. Okay, this is why I'm saying I'm way oversimplifying. Bruh moment says, teacher, you forgot about the petty bourgeoisie. Yes, there are some gradations here that I'm not mentioning for the sake of clarity, but yeah, all right. Um, so under capitalism, generally, Marx viewed it as there being two main classes. There's the bourgeoisie, which are the owning class. Okay. That's the class that owns the means of production. What does that mean? Those are like business owners, factory owners, people who own grocery chains. The people who own a business and own it for themselves. Okay. Um, the workers, the workers do not own. For example, if anyone here has ever worked in retail, okay, or really in any like business of that kind, correct, Promethean Rebel, not us. The vast majority of people in society are part of the working class. They do not own, when you go to work, you do not own the building you're working in. You do not own the company you're working in, right? The bourgeoisie or the owner class are the people that own the business and profit off of it. You are simply working there. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah, Big Braden. And you're going to see how Marx explains that. Okay? Big Braden says, uh, um, every big business I worked for has been hell. Yeah. And you're going to see Marx talks about that. All right. And folks, I really want you to think um, how this applies in your lives. Okay, for us who have worked in retail or worked, in a restaurant or worked a job that to survive. Yeah, Home Depot. Okay, I have worked in jobs like this. So think that way while we're thinking about this because it'll help you sort of understand what Marx is talking about. The other class is called what he calls the proletariat. Okay. And I forgot to put it next here, but I will typically call that the working class. Okay. Though that's the class of people, which is the majority of people who labor and produce value. And that means that they're the ones who actually make stuff and do stuff that produce value. A better way of thinking about this is these are the people who work for wages, all right, which is probably most of us, if not all of us. Okay, there might be some people in here who are business owners. It gets complicated because not all business owners are bourgeoisie. Some of them are petty bourgeoisie. It's complicated, but regardless, okay. I want to point something out though. Notice how I said the proletariat produces value. And then if you look under bourgeoisie, I made sure to write down does not produce value. Okay. The bourgeoisie, according to Marx, literally doesn't make anything. Okay. They don't really produce any value. They basically just move stuff around. They make decisions about like what to buy and what to build, but it's their workers who actually produce things and create the value. They themselves are not creating or producing any value. Now, I want you to think about that. Okay. What would happen? Let's say you work at a grocery store, and suddenly the CEO and the owners of that grocery store disappeared. Would that grocery store still be functioning if all the workers were still there? In theory. Or let's say there's a factory. Can a factory still produce stuff if there's still workers there, but there's like the owning class is gone, Marx would say, yes, all right. The owning class is unnecessary to produce value. It is simply there, and it takes money. So I'll get more into this. Okay, does that make sense? Um, okay, so I'm going to pause there. Give everyone a second to chew on that. Just a reminder, folks. If we get two more super chats, I will put on the Jester caller. If we get 10 or I guess 7 more super chats at this point, I will show you a Nazi flag that was captured in World War II. So please do that if you'd like. If you'd like to become a member and get that cute little Jester hat next to your name, you can become um, uh, you can become a member by clicking the join button on YouTube or whatever the case. And does that make sense? Okay, you can join for as little as 99 cents a month to be able to get all these cute little emojis, which I once again put in chat. I made another one too, you got one of my dad, you got one of the um, all that other stuff. Okay, if you want, you get those emojis, you get that little cute thing next to your name. You can also support me on Patreon by becoming a supporter for $5 a month. Help me keep this channel going. Okay. All right, guys. So let's continue. And by the way, please like the stream if you have not already. And by the way, folks, if you're watching and you want to comment, you can subscribe to the channel, and in about 5 minutes you'll be able to do that. Okay. All right. Grace Abrams, that is a fair point. I'm actually going to talk about that later. There are other ways to do that sort of thing without owners, and I will explain it later. For example, I think I heard someone else say co-ops. Okay, because you can still make decisions about like where to build buildings, what to do with the buildings, what to produce in the buildings, and the workers can make those decisions by doing something called voting or other. There's other ways that it can be done, but we will talk about that. Okay. Long Beach Dragon, where have you been? I am deeply disappointed in you, Long Beach Dragon. No, I'm kidding. I know you've probably been working as a Long Beach Dragon. I'm just kidding with you. Okay. All right. Um, Tiago says, I think Elon Musk wouldn't be necessary in most of his companies, but a lot of owners are very necessary and important. That is a fair point, Tiago. In our current system, absolutely. Okay. Uh, no, I have not, Alan W. I will take a look at that. Have you seen that? Um, Michael, welcome to the chat. The two ways of profit: natural resources and labor. You're right, and as a matter of fact, one of the issues with um, uh, yeah, absolutely correct, Grace Abrams. I think that's yeah, okay. All right. I'm sorry, going back to Alan here. Vienna public housing, 58% of houses are public owned, and they're very nice. Over 70% of the city are renters too, with heavy protections and rights. Hey, that's fantastic. I'll look into that. I love that, especially in Europe, Spain a lot. There's a lot of stuff like that. It's really great. Okay. Okay. Now, Tiago, I'm going to disagree with you here, Tiago. Dun dun dun. Okay. Tiago says the workers can vote, but in order for the vote, the best way you need to understand the whole company, and most workers don't have that knowledge and don't want to have. Now, Tiago, you have a point here. That being said, Tiago, are there also not owners that are incompetent and don't know what they're doing? Right? If we all remember the Titan submersible disaster, if you look into why that happened, it was because the owner of that company was a moron, okay, deeply incompetent, and he controlled the company. So you're right, Tiago. It is absolutely possible that workers voting to make decisions for themselves would make bad decisions. But that's just the nature of economics, in which case that business will fail or that enterprise will fail. Okay. But it's the same thing with business owners. If they're incompetent, their business will fail. So that would be my sort of way to uh, push on that. Um, Jay, Jay Dubois, please join the Discord if you can. I can talk to you more on there about that, but that's a great question. Um, okay. Okay. And by the way, though, sorry, the Delta Kills. Welcome to the chat, Delta Kills. I feel like I've seen you in here before. Delta Kills says, Tiago, there is always a technocrat willing to take the place of an owner. In my opinion, you just need to look hard enough or build them up. That's very fair. Oh, very good. Okay, then, Jay Dubois, I will. Let's talk about it in there, okay? Because I would love to talk more about that with you. All right. So let's go on here. So again, there are two classes in society: the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, which I will call the owner class and the working class just to make it less confusing here. All right, here we get to the next part, and this is where I really want you all to think about your own experiences. Okay. The owning class profits, and by the way, so both classes have different goals. This is why there's conflict, because each class has a different goal and what they're trying to do. Okay, so the owning class basically profits off the labor of the working class. That is fine, Jay Dubois. Okay. Um, so the owning class profits off the labor of the working class. Then this is what Marx is saying. Marx says that the owning class really doesn't produce anything of value. The only way the owning class profits is by having working class people work for them and produce things, and they profit off that work and labor. Okay. Now then, knowing that the goal of people in the owning class is to make as much money off their workers as possible. Okay. They have an incentive to give as little back to their workers as possible. This makes sense, right? Because they're not really producing anything, according to Marx, you and you're basically just making money off the labor of other people. You're going to want to try and get as much of that money and profit for yourself. Okay. Please do, Grace Abrams. I'd be very interested and I'm hearing about that. Um, I'd be very interested, and I know that. Yeah. So okay. All right. So by its nature, folks, owners will pay their workers less than the value of the labor that they're doing, so they can extract a profit. Okay. So when you're working, okay, if we were to place a number value on that, um, you will always be paid less than the work you're actually doing. Always, always, always. Okay. Because if the owners paid you the amount of money that you're actually owed, they would not make any money. So they have to pay you less. Just by the nature of the system, they have to pay you less than your labor is worth. And then that extra amount they don't pay you, they keep as profit. Does that make sense? Okay. Now then, we can see how that's a problem because they have a just look at teachers. They get paid far less than the work they do. The irony. That is very true, Long Beach Dragon. Now, I will say one of the issues with Marx is he doesn't talk that much about like the public sphere because most teachers work in a government setting. But it is sort of the same thing that happens. And that's true, Promethean Rebel. Yes, correct, Delta Kills. That's a great one. Think you make $5 in value. So let's say you produce $5 in value doing work. After cost, they will take $1 of that value for themselves, and you'll be able to keep 4 of it in wages. So again, you'll never get paid the value of your labor. Okay, technically you should get all 5. You're the one that did the labor, right? But alas, you will not get all that value. Okay. Um, let's continue. I totally agree, Grace Abrams, and thank you for advocating for me. Okay, teachers should be paid more, and nurses, absolutely. Nurses, oh my goodness, nurses absolutely need to get paid more. There's a lot of folks that need to get paid more. All right, so now that we know that, let's move on to this next point. I mentioned this before. Workers sell their labor to owners to survive, but they do not receive pay equal to the value of their work. That is uh, very true. Okay, that's literally just factual if you look at the way things are structured. Now, I'll go on here. Another thing Mark said is that Tiago, how dare you? Okay. How dare you, Tiago? Tiago saying, Grace, be a Patreon, help this cult leader/teacher. I know, right? Okay. I swear all of you are degenerates. Okay. Seize the means of production. I love that, Macy. Yes, yes. Okay. That is a common left-wing phrase there. All right. So another thing Marx mentioned, and I bet you all feel this way. I'm sure if you've worked in one of these companies before, workers are readily replaceable. All right. If you're a cashier, and you lose your job for some reason, they'll just put in another cashier, okay? So Marx pointed out that, workers are like cogs in a machine, right? They're easily replaceable, okay? Um, and in the next slide, I'll tell you how this makes workers feel and what it feels like to be a worker, though I'm sure many of you understand this. Okay. Um, so let's continue. Okay. Uh, this difference in what these classes are looking for, workers are looking to survive. They're trying to get as much value out of their labor as possible, and so are the owning class. So both of them are trying to get as much value as possible out of the work, which causes a conflict. Okay, let's continue. Now then, folks, this is where I do want to people please in chat tell me. I kind of see how people feel, but people who have worked, I mean, and may still be working in these kind of low wage jobs and such. So, as I said, so according to Marx, workers being treated this way causes something called alienation. And I'm sure many of us have felt this before, though we may not have a word for it. Okay. Because workers are not paid equal to the value of their work, you will oftentimes, for example, feel like you're not being paid as much equal to the amount of work you're putting out. If anyone has ever looked at their bank account and gone, "Oh my God, after this last week working 40 hours, working 2 jobs, I've only made this much money," that is part of alienation there. Okay. The next thing here, this is an interesting one. Workers do not have a stake in the success of where they work because they do not own the results of their work and are merely trying to survive. So, if you're working for like a grocery store or you're working for anything like that, okay, or like Home Depot, whatever it may be, you're just trying to get wages, right? Now, I have a slight disagreement with Marx here. Regardless, the point is you don't really care if that business succeeds or fails because you don't own it. You don't care if they make a $2 billion profit a year or not because you just want you just want to get your wages, right? So Marx points out that that makes capitalism super inefficient because if you had workers who were actually invested in the work they were doing because they felt that they were getting something out of it, they would work harder. Okay. So capitalism actually leads to workers not putting in much effort at work. They don't actually work that hard because they don't have any investment in the work they do. I know, right, Tiago. Okay. Does that make sense? Like, who here really cares about like whether the company they're working for is making a massive profit or not? Okay. Now, I want you to imagine something else. Imagine if you worked at a company where you were one of the owners of that company and whatever profits are made partially go to you. Do you feel you might be more invested in what that company does, how that company functions? So, for example, if I think Big Braden mentioned working at Home Depot, imagine if Big Braden was working at Home Depot and after all the profits were made, all the employees sat together and decided to equally split the profits amongst themselves. And thus, you all benefit off those profits. Can you see how that might make it more motivational for people to be invested in the work they're doing? Uh, and that was Marx's argument. Capitalism is inefficient because workers are not really invested in the work they do. Okay. Yep, Alan W. CEOs make over 350 times more than their average employee, and you cannot tell me that that is related to how much work they're doing, right? Do we think like a single mother who's working two jobs is doing 350 times less work than the CEO of the company she works for? You're right, Tiago, and I'm going to talk about that when we get to socialism. There are ways of mitigating this without completely doing away with the owner worker system. Resident Union Thug. For some reason, your name, Resident Union Thug, makes me think that that is not true. Okay, Resident Union Thug says, I care deeply about my CEO's compensation package. Right. Okay. So let's go on. The last thing here, okay, and I want you all to think about how this affects you, is because of this, workers become alienated from their own humanity because their only value under capitalism is as is as a replaceable cog in a machine. We often feel that our only value in a society is our value as workers, and society kind of reinforces that. Shut. Thoughts and prayers for your local CEOs. That's for sure. Okay. Now, folks, for people who have worked in jobs like these, I know I have. 100% Michael, 100% Michael. This is a great point. Michael points out, I work in manufacturing, and a lot of our inefficiencies come from other workers having the mindset of that's not my job, and the unwillingness to take on tasks outside of their job description. Now, imagine a scenario, folks, where workers all owned the company together. You would feel more invested in being willing to do other jobs in that business because the success of that business would be beneficial for everyone, right? Including you. Okay. That's a great example. Yes, Tiago. And that's where we get to socialism, which I will talk about. The idea that Tiago says all of these problems are being solved by a lot of companies, a lot of states with different methods. I can't understand why we simply don't learn more from each other. 100%, Tiago. Especially America needs to learn more from Europe in this way. There are a lot, yeah. And when we get to the talking about socialism, there are other ways to do this that don't go all the way to communism. Okay, but we'll get to that. Okay, yeah. Okay. Uh, yep. Yep, 100% Big Braden. Yep, you do, Alyssa. Absolutely. If workers had more of a say in their workplace they would care more. 100%. Okay. Okay, Alyssa. Yes. So this is where Marx, he didn't see a lot of the things that would come. Alyssa says, my husband gets a profit share once a year. Now, most people do not get those, but in some businesses, there are profit sharing type things for the employees, even though there are owners and workers. So again, Marx, some of his things didn't really account for these things, kind of, but yes, okay. And this is not a perfect analysis of every situation. Um, yeah, I see. Grace Abrams, I agree with you. Just like as Alyssa said, some businesses do share those profits. I will say, folks, most do not. Okay, but there are some that do. I meant Grace Abrams says I meant CEOs shouldn't be making that much money. Such profits need to be investor profit shared. Yeah. Okay. So let's continue. Yeah, that is a very good point, Alyssa. Okay. Um, There you go, Big Braden. Capitalism has evolved since Karl Marx was around, folks. He was around in the late 19th century, early 20th century, so way long time ago. Very early, not early capitalism, but sort of a different form of capitalism. There didn't sort of foresee a lot of the stuff that has happened. So this is not a perfect one-to-one thing. All right, so we get that. Okay. Um, Now then, Marx went further with this. Marx went further with this. Marx went on to say, and I think from my other streams, you can see that there is some truth to this at least. Okay. Uh, he said that the owning class uses institutions to protect their advantage status and keep workers in line. Now then, we talked about Edward Bernays a few days ago. We talked about um, how I've mentioned how there are the hidden curriculum, how in curriculum there are some hidden lessons that do kind of reinforce the class structure of our society, reinforce the capitalist nature of our society. All right. And at the base of that is capitalism. And then out of that grows these institutions which reinforce capitalism. Okay. Yes. Public relationship. One of the areas that now, folks, again, if you are religious and you're in chat, please don't think I am disparaging your religion. But Marx also believed that religions reinforce this. And I'm going to give you an example that he used. They're very good point, the delta kills. Okay. I'm not going to say what you said because I don't want to confuse people because you're using very good technical language. But I'll phrase it this way: the delta kills, the ideology. Or I'll know. Never mind. But yes, I'll get to that. But that's a good point. Delta kills. Okay. So let me give you an example here. So Marx, his famous quote about religion was that religion is the opiate of the working class or the people, meaning that religion allows people to stop thinking about the suffering that the economic system is causing them. And one example he used here was like Christianity, in which case you are told, and again, I'm not generalizing Christianity here, lots of different kinds of Christianity. You are basically told that this life doesn't matter so much. What matters is the next life. So as long as you do well and you're good in this life and you do your work and you're a good person, you'll go to heaven in the next life. Well, that is likely to make a lot of people not care too much about changing things in this life, right? Okay. I can give you other examples. Yeah, Promethean Rebel, bread and circuses. Okay. I can give you another examples of religious things. If we were to look at India, in India, there is a tradition, a religious tradition, a social tradition of having a caste system, which basically says that you are born into a certain caste in society, and if you stick to your role in that caste, in the next life, you will be elevated to the next highest caste of society. That reinforces this structure, right? Because you're not going to care too much. You're going to work very hard and without really questioning it. Okay. Do you see what I'm saying? Macy, yes. Okay. Religion is partially a mechanism of control. Now, I will say religion can also be a mechanism of resistance. I'm not going to go into that now, but according to Marx, yes, religion is partially a mechanism of control. Um, 100% delta kills, which I believe I did just say. I personally take religion as a contextual tool, much like it can be a bludgeon for the oppressor, or it can also be a stick to defended oppressed with 100%. So Marx, I think, was a little off on that because there are aspects of religion that can lead to revolt, rebellion, resistance, defending the oppressed. Okay, we see that all the time. So we could go on here. Okay, the political and legal structure, he says, is also always constructed to benefit the owning class. Now, folks, for the Americans in chat, I think you know that this is true, at least in America, right? We have a massively corrupt political system where the wealthiest people can essentially decide to elections. Um, as a matter of fact, the founding fathers, I think I told you this, James Madison, one of the founding fathers of the country, famously said that the purpose of the Senate was to protect the minority of the opulent against the majority, basically saying that the purpose of the Senate is to protect the wealthy and powerful against the populace. So, yes, okay, the legal and political system is often set up in a way that benefits the working class. Um, does this make sense to folks? Okay. And there's more here. The media reinforces the position of the working class. Again, I think Marx was not fully correct here because there are media sources like, for example, Democracy Now! I could give you that as an example. There's others out there, okay, which do not do this, but a lot of the most popular media sources are corporate media, like CNN, Fox News, MSNBC. Um, you can name them, right? And they oftentimes talk about things that reinforce the position of the owning class. JK, hello, welcome. Welcome back. JK, another regular here. So, folks, if we get one more super chat, I will put on the Jester caller. I think we only need one more. I think that's right. If you would like, if you become a member by going to my page and clicking the join button for as little as 99 cents a month, you can get that cute little Jester hat next to your name. It's so adorable. Look at that right there. Okay. And you also will have access and will be able to use these emojis that I will now be putting in chat, which will be great. You'll be granted access to. And I uploaded a new one today. Um, 100% Macon, yes. Thomas of Paine was very much against having a Senate, and he famously said about the Constitutional Congress when he was asked when he heard about it, he's like, "Well, I smell a rat," because he didn't trust it. He knew that the sort of the ruling elites would sort of establish a system that was beneficial to them and not the lower class people. Yeah. No, Delta, you again, uh, Delta, I feel like you are an intellectual here. Yeah, I'm sure you can see here. I'm trying to make this more digestible for folks. But you're right. Okay, media. Delta Kill says media likely must be expanded into two brackets: one on reinforcement on hegemony, and one in antithesis. Yep, you're right. Delta Kills. For the, I'm sure there's some folks in chat who don't sort of recognize the framing, the framing there, but it's basically what I'm saying. Yes, you're right. Okay, those are sort of the philosophical words slash Marxian words for those things. Yes, Alan, that is something else that Marx talked about. Alan says the media tells you that you should be angry at marginalized groups instead of being angry at the system. Correct. Fascists, by the way, thrive on this. In moments when there is a crisis of capitalism, when there's like a depression or something, fascists can sort of use the scapegoating of minority groups, so whether it be Jewish people, LGBTQ people, and stuff, to distract from the economics woes that are being caused by the capitalist system. Okay. And by the way, folks, I will do a stream sometime where I talk about Marxist ideas of fascism because they're very interesting, and it's just another way to approach what causes fascism. Okay, all right. Um, and of course, there's also family structure. Marx also said family structure can help reinforce capitalist ideas. I want to point out here that think about you know, us. Well, I think you all understand this one here. Okay. Um, and by the way, also, folks, think of our culture. As an anthropologist, I can tell you there's a lot of Marxist anthropologists who talk about how the beliefs of a society kind of arise out of a need to defend capitalism. So, for example, we have a society that's very hard on people we view as lazy, that don't work or whatever. Uh, why do you think that is? Okay, we have a society who has a lot of words that degrades people who don't work hard enough. Okay, our language is even affected by it. George Orwell talked about this. Talked about how the language affected by these systems. Okay, yeah, a lot of our society is based on that. The whole idea of if you're successful, it's because you work hard. Very much supports the capitalist system. Yep. Alan W. In this system, people's value is determined by their output of labor versus their humanity as a human. Yeah, I agree, Promethean Rebel. In other countries, there isn't stigma on people living together or with parents. Also, they have multilingual households. Oh, I'm sorry, multi-gen households, which is even better. Yeah, okay, I agree with that. Yeah, exactly, Big Braden. People start to think your production value is all that matters, which I hate. Okay. So, all right. So we get that. Let me go on. So Marx goes on to say that this conflict between the working class and the owning class will eventually result in a worker revolution. Correct. Hustle, baby. Exactly. I mean, even the words we use here, okay? Like hustle, you got to hustle. Uh, things like that reinforce that system. Okay. Yep, Big Braden. Yep. And a lot of times, folks, Big Braden says, I've had supervisors talk to me like I'm a machine. I think we've all experienced that. Okay. Where it becomes very evident that we're replaceable. Okay. It becomes very evident that we do not, our value is not in ourselves as humans, it's in the work we put out. Okay. Grind culture. There's another one, Promethean Rebel. Okay. Um, yeah, it's baked into our culture, okay? And maybe sometime I'll talk about neo-Marxist anthropology, which talks about how cultures grow out of the economic system. But anyway, okay. So Marx said that this would inevitably let's get this bread. Absolutely. Think about that, Macy. I love that, Macy. Macy says, let's get this bread because we need food to live. Think about how dark that is, folks. That phrase, let's win some bread. Why would you need to win something that is so necessary to survive, like food? It's not no one ever thinks about that, like, why do I need to go win food? I mean, there's plenty of food in the world, there's plenty of food in the world for everyone to have enough, why do I need to go win it? Okay, the Delta kills, socialist bread lines, right? Yeah, okay. Um, yeah, okay. So that's a really interesting point there. Resident Union Thug says, "We literally have to ask our capitalist overlords for permission to take time off for anything. I don't know, might need to see a doctor every now and again so I don't die." 100%, 100%. And I think I mentioned this before, Hoax. Another form of social control that benefits the capitalist owners in our system is healthcare. Because, especially now after Trump's big, I made big, beautiful bill, okay? Can you hear me now? Is that better? Really? Still muted. Okay. We're 1 second. Okay. All right, folks. Oh, you can hear me now? Better? Okay, good. Oh, I don't know what I literally have no idea what happened there. Thank you guys. Okay, okay, excellent. So, all right. Uh I for what was I well, I can't remember what was I talking about. Yes, healthcare. How healthcare is a mechanism of social control that kind of aligns with capitalism. Okay. By the way, folks, I mentioned at the beginning how Marx said that throughout history there have been different forms of economies. And this happens in every form of economy. Think about the Middle Ages in Europe. Uh, the way people thought really benefited the nobility. The idea that there's the divine right of kings, that, well, the reason they're in power is because God put them there. The idea that, God put you on earth for a certain reason. And if that's the reason, if your reason is to be a worker or a peasant, that's what God put you there for. So this happens in every system. Okay, even under slavery, like in the United States, there were all these ideologies trying to defend slavery. There were racial ideologies. There were economic ideologies basically trying to excuse slavery, right? They all sort of attempt to prop up the economic system. Okay. I know, Promethean Rebel, some people still believe they should rule because of their blood. Insanity. One thing I do like about being an American, okay, is we don't have that here anymore, at least. Um, yeah, yeah, Macy. Okay, so folks, if we get one more super chat, I'll put on the Jester collar. Just a reminder here, folks. Okay. I will say, so again, now Mark said inevitably this would lead to a that good point, Louise. Yet I would not be surprised if we start having another monarchy or hereditary bloodline type thing. Okay, all right. Especially when you look what the words the right wing use about blood and stuff. Um, Hello, Winterlinde. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, Winterlinde, another one of the regulars here. All right, and Louise. I forgot to mention Louise too, also one of the regulars. Okay. So, by the way, Winterlinde, I responded to your message. You sent me a comment on YouTube. I responded to it. I watched that clip and I loved it. That German comedian is fantastic and 100% correct. Okay. All right. So Marx argued that this would inevitably lead to a revolution of the workers against the owning class. And here is where this might not necessarily be true, but it's unclear. So eventually, he said that the workers would rise up and remove the working class. Or I'm sorry, remove the owning class. Yeah, Big Braden. Yeah, Big Braden says, I will say I don't know if a worker revolution is inevitable. I think it is also possible that class conflict can push people towards fascism. Big Braden, you're a genius. Yes, and when we talk about Marxist interpretations of fascism, that is a big thing. Okay, yeah. And remember, folks, when the Nazis took over, the communist and other socialists were also experiencing a massive boost in popularity. And that is one of the sort of more horrific things. The Delta kills, cough, cough, cap and decay. Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah. Okay. I know exactly what you mean, Delta kills. All right, let's go. All right. So he said it would result in a revolution. Now then, this is what socialism is, folks. Okay. And I am not. So this is probably not as nuanced as it should be. So, like I said before, Marx said that there are multiple economic systems throughout history. Okay, and the essentially the next economic system we adopt would be socialism. Now then, there are many different kinds of socialism, many different ways that different lefties and stuff have envisioned accomplishing that. Okay, the Delta kills. You are on fire today. You should definitely come back more often. Okay, I love it. The Delta kill says it's when the government does stuff. Yeah, it is not, folks. That is different. Very different. Well, it's not very different, but it's different. Okay. Yeah, aka transitional period to communism now. And that, by the way, Alan W., is where I disagree. I don't think that I think you can have sort not I don't want to say end state socialism, but I don't necessarily know that that will ever happen when we get to communism. But yeah, we'll see. Okay. Anyway, so that it would be the next economic system. Now, just look at the word, folks. That the word here is socialism. The word in capitalism is capitalism. Capitalism is where you base a system around capital, which is basically the people who own money. Okay, the owning class. Socialism is where you base and structure a society around what is best for people in a society. Does this make sense? Uh, um, capital. I'm sorry, maybe yeah, capital. Wow, that doesn't help you much. The first one. Okay. Does that make that that's sort of the most basic thing there? It's social meaning society, okay? Uh and by the way, folks, the demonization of socialism also being part of our culture because why? Because it directly challenges the power of the owning class, okay, according to Marx and to me. Anyway, uh so socialism generally speaking, okay, and again, there's different kinds of socialism. What is it then? What does it look like? Um, yeah, exactly. The Red Scare propaganda, which that's actually a fair point, folks. The Cold War was also a big contributor to that, but that had been going on for a long time previously, and even before that, there were massive crackdowns on labor unions and such. Um, Exactly, okay, because that threatened exactly, big brain, that's what threatens yeah, Red Scare propaganda for, like, 100 years too, 100%. Um, okay. So, socialism would be whatever the next economic system is from capitalism. Now, again, there are different interpretations about what this is. If I could Delta Kills, if I could get my hands on Herbert Hugh Hoover, join the club there, Delta Kills. Okay, in a generally speaking, in a socialist system, the means of production, so that would be factories, grocery stores. What else are we thinking of? I'm having a mind blank here. Construction workers, housing builders are at least partially or fully owned by the working class. So instead of having like a private individual who owns like let's say he owns I don't know, a Home Depot or whatever, okay, owns Home Depot, the workers that work there would own that, okay? Now there are different socialists have different approaches to how that would what that would look like. Some socialists believe that what it should look like is that the government, representing the interests of the people, would own the economy, would basically directly control the resources, directly control all the businesses, and through a sort of representation type thing, or a kind of, this gets complicated, but basically through sort of a democratic representation type thing, would then make decisions on behalf of the people about what to produce, when to produce it, and things like that. Um, Okay, that other socialists believe that you can have independent, like, they should be owned by workers. An example of this would be a co-op. There are co-ops in the United States. I don't know if anyone knows REI. Yeah, Dumbo, yeah, Soviet Union, exactly. That's statist capitalism, where you have this sense that the government should control everything economically. Um, in theory, to represent the interests of the working class, which a lot of times does not work out. Okay, there are, there's other socialists who believe, well, instead of having businesses that are owned by, like, business owners, you could have them owned by the workers. And there are things called co-ops, for example, which are businesses that are essentially owned by their workers, and they make decisions through voting. They make decisions. They'll elect people to lead the company, or they will vote on what to do with the company. They will vote on what to do with the profits and distribute it amongst themselves. Yeah, Big Braden, definitely not. Okay, mass slaughter there, in many ways. Um, and I can give you an example. There's REI, which is I think it's an American company, which is an outdoors company. They are a co-op. Okay, there are other co-ops that operate within our system. Um, in Spain, I guess in the Basque region of Spain, there's a massive corporate entity um, called Madrigan. I could be pronouncing that wrong. If Tiago's in chat, he might know, even though I know Tiago is not Spanish, but you do, I guess you live somewhat close to Spain because you're in Portugal. Um, exactly. Thank you, Dumbo. Democracy within the company. Okay. And I think it's interesting that I want you to think about this, folks. Thank you, Dumbo, for mentioning that. In America, there's a lot of talk of democracy and how we like being democratic and stuff, and we want freedom of speech. Most of our lives are spent working, or at least a large chunk of our lives are spent working. And many of us will work in a situation where we do not have freedom of speech. We do not have the freedom to do what we want. We are basically beholden to the wills of a private dictator, whether it be our boss, a company owner, or something like that. Um, Americans have trouble understanding how that is also oppressive and authoritarian. We like to talk about all these values when it comes to the government, but for some reason, we don't like talking about it when we talk about businesses. Okay. So I love democracy, and I would love to see democratically run businesses also, because I think a collective of people making that decision is a better idea. All right. Yeah, right. Exactly, bro moment. 100%. Bro moment says, uh, exactly, Big Braden. Okay. Well, why wouldn't we do both? Okay. Uh, yeah, exactly, Delta Kills. Okay, I'm going to see. Bro Moment here said the main problem, I believe, when talking about these ideologies is that everyone has their own idea about what socialism is. That is true. That's sort of why you can kind of tell where I lean on this, but there are different ideas about what the next economic system should look like. Um, the general idea here, though, is socialism is where the means of production are either partially or fully owned by the working class, whether through government or independent ownership. Okay. Okay. So has anyone, just tell me in chat, has anyone not thought of it that way before? Never kind of considered, well, yeah, wait a minute. I guess I'm really not free when I have to work, and my basis for survival requires that I don't say what I want to say, that I have to listen to an authority figure. Um, um, okay. Anyone? Yes, Winterlini, that's very true. Most German companies, they have sort of integrated unions into their governing structure, which is definitely much more democratic than what we have here. Absolutely. Um, Okay. So Shut asks, do you have any recommendations on how we can uh, attempt to create that kind of environment at my workplace, like through other employees or something? Shut unions. Labor movement is a great, 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 great way to start empowering workers. We need stronger and more powerful unions. Over time, they could be integrated parts of those companies. That's kind of partially what happened in Germany. I'm kind of oversimplifying there, but unions were very powerful. They eventually became part of the governing structures of companies. Um, yeah, yeah, Lee Lane. Yeah, that is a good point. Lee Lane says I can just change job if I'm not happy with my employer's values. That is a very fair point. That is one difference generally between slavery and capitalism or even serfdom is that under capitalism, one of the ways it's better is that you basically get to choose who your oppressor is. Okay, I mean, kind of, right? If you leave you can leave your job willingly. Under slavery, you could not leave. As a serf, you could not leave. But under capitalism, if you don't like your job, you can leave it. So that is a fair point. Okay, all right, guys. If we get one more super chat here, I will put on the Jester collar. And that is true, though, Delta Kills. One shouldn't have to starve if they do feel oppressed and want to leave. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. There's all these incentives put in place to make it so you don't leave your job at Big Britain. Okay. So that is just now then. This is the last part here. I promise we're almost done. I know, right, Macy Shred. I'm not trying to make anyone class conscious here. I mean, maybe I am a little bit, but I understand that. Macy Schroeder saying, "Please stop making me feel like I'm a I'm a slave slash prisoner. I'm uncomfortable." I know, Macy. Why do you think I got so interested in all this stuff after I learned it? Okay, um, yeah, exactly. Louise Hitchinson, I've always thought and have told my kids I work to live, I don't live to work. And I've always managed to adapt my job to how I want to do it. I've been lucky, Louise. More power to you. I will say, folks, since I've lost my job, and even though I don't work in like a capitalist enterprise, I worked in a school, like I feel a lot freer. If you can't tell, I would never talk openly about this sort of stuff. I mean, I might overview what communism or Marx did and stuff, but I wouldn't talk about this. Okay. Like I feel much freer going through this venue. Okay. Like, yeah, yeah, you should try to find a job that you have some freedom in to do what you want. Yeah. All right. Oh, thank you for that. Understanding the problem is the best way to get people to start making change. Hence why I love Casual Revolt's movement. Thank you. Thank you very much, Shut. That's very kind of you. Um, you are kind of a unicorn with the timing thing. Okay, I know. Thank you, Macy. Okay. All right. So now real fast, this is the last slide, I promise. Okay, I know I've been talking at you for a while. Um, yeah, okay. According to Marx, this process of class conflict from generation to generation would eventually end once we reach a society where there are no classes, okay, where there are no classes of people, and to the point where the government will dissolve away, and basically everyone just sort of work communally together without classes. That and basically all property, also not all property, but all the means of production and stuff are owned together in common. That is called communism. The Delta Kills, all your comments are making me laugh. The Delta Kills, thank you for the super chat. Says this is where the government does a lot of stuff. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, folks, socialism is not where the government does a lot of stuff. Okay. But yes, thank you, Delta Kills, for that super chat. Okay. Uh, so communism, according to Marx, is sort of the final form of socialism. Now, folks, again, I might call some lefty infighting here. I do not believe that communism is a realistic form of society. It has never really been successfully done. It seems a bit too crazy. Like it seems a bit too idealistic to me. From what I know of humans as animals, we love hierarchies. We always seem to end up with a hierarchy. I don't know that that's possible. It is a cute goal to go towards, but I don't know if I think that is even possible. I will get pushback probably from some lefties here. Oh, you're right. We have to put on the collar. My apologies. My apologies. Okay. Real fast though, Oscar Fernandez, welcome to the chat. You say I don't think Marx knew there would be AI. Absolutely, Marx did not consider a lot of things like that. He did not consider AI. He did not consider robotization. At least I don't think he did. So yeah. Okay. Time for the Jester caller. All right. Oh, there we go, folks. There we go. Okay. All right. Okay. So that is what communism is. It's sort of what the end goal of socialism is over time, according to Marx. But again, I personally, I mean, you all can think what you want, think that is deeply unrealistic. I believe more in like social democracy, things like that, and you can push towards communism as much as possible, I suppose. But I don't think we'll ever get to that point. Uh, Okay. Oh, we got a lot of good chats here. Yep. Oh, I love all the little celebration things. Yep. Got the collar on here, folks. Now, folks, if we get 5 more super chats, you all know what'll come next. If we get 5 more super chats, I will do a show and tell of the captured Nazi flag. My grandfather captured in World War II. So let me remove the goal and start a new one. Okay. So 5 more. Flag show and tell. Okay. Start going out. I do want to ask though, for those who are wiser about this than I am, do we think that would that be bad if I did that on live stream? Like because it is a symbol of hatred and stuff. Like that wouldn't get the video like not demonetized because it's not monetized. Well, it's monetized, but I'm not showing you any ads. Uh, It'd be okay? It would okay? Yeah, do you mind checking real fast? I just wanna make sure in case we do get there. So, folks, if we get 5 more super chats, and if I can't show that, I can show you something else. Like, I can show you and also I have my grandfather captured a Hitler Youth armband. I can show you that instead if you wanna see that. Okay. Ooh, that might be a good idea, Macy, actually. Thank you for that idea. Okay. Um, but okay, while that's being looked up, let me let's talk about this. So again, there are different ways, types of socialism. Uh, the democratic socialism is something I really like. Basically, folks, like I told you I'm a liberal socialist here. I still believe in freedoms, like, freedom of speech. I think people should be able to do what they want within reason as long as they're not harming each other. But I do think we should have a much more socialized economy. And there are like, for example, countries in Scandinavia. Um, okay, JK, that is a totally understandable position to have. JK saying, I don't like it. There is a reason that shit is banned in Germany. I totally understand that. Okay. Um, let's see what else we got here. And yeah, by the way, oh yeah, sorry, real fast. Oh, Alan, I'm sorry. Let me see. What? Okay, Alan says, Big Braden, yes, the next step in America would be democratic socialism, introducing things like universal healthcare. Correct. Yeah, and that I like that sort of thing. Like, let's slowly decommodify certain things like healthcare, like electricity, and things like that. And kind of go towards that direction, uh, those things. We could do that. And by the way, that's why it's called democratic socialism because it's done through a democratic process. We, as the people, decide to elect people that'll do that, or we vote for it and do it ourselves. It's not like this mass murdering type, or excuse me, mass unaliving thing that we like to think of when we think of the Soviet Union or anything. You can be done through democratic means. That's how it's been done in Scandinavian countries and elsewhere. We can decommodify certain parts of the economy, and and by the way, so we can still have capitalist enterprises, maybe not as many, but yeah, they can do a slow process. Um, yeah, I think we could eventually. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, folks, okay, so there we go. That is our little talk here. I'm going to go back to the face screen here. Let me get to it. Okay, here we go. All right. Hello. Hello, folks. Ooh. All right. All right. Let's get this done. All right. Um, okay, so first of all, folks, let me see if we got any extra chats here again, folks. If you would like to become a member, please click the join button underneath my videos. And for as little as 99 cents a month, um, uh, you can become a member. Winterlinde and JK, knowing that I studied fascism and things like that, and have a deep, 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 deep hatred of Nazis. Uh, if you all couldn't tell, I will be respectful of that. I do not want to show it if it's going to harm anyone. It's done enough harm. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not, and I know some folks might be like, "Oh, it's cancel culture." I can no, I totally get that. I'll find something else to show everyone, or maybe I'll do it on a different stream. Okay, um, especially with there's a lot of trauma there. Anyway. Okay, so sorry, I'm reading some of these. All right, decommodify anything we need to survive. Absolutely, thank you, Alice, Alyssa. I agree. We should like that food should be decommodified, water, all that stuff. Okay. Um, uh, okay. This might sound silly, but I also think democratic revolutions are possible, like where the majority of people. Yeah, yeah. In theory, you're right. Okay. Not every socialist country who is bordering on socialism or whatever. Um, yeah, that is fair. Yeah, okay, thank you, JK. Okay, if you don't mind, then I'm just trying to be. I am ultra sensitive about. I have been to Germany. I love the German people, and there is a lot of trauma. And I'm not saying this is you, JK, or whatever, associated with that symbol. And I want to be respectful of that, and I'm sure we can all understand why. But if JK, you're okay with it, and I will say one of the interesting things about it is that all my grandfather's, all the members of his unit signed it, and I even have a picture of him wearing it like a dress to mock it and stuff. So it would not be out of respect. But okay. Uh, Okay. All right, folks. All right, Long Beach Dragon. The problem with decommodifying everything, though, is that there is no way of maintaining those things since that is part of the pricing structure. So I'm trying to think about that, Long Beach Dragon. Well, first of all, Long Beach Dragon, I am not suggesting we should decommodify everything, at least not at first. Okay, that would be way, 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 way far in the future. I don't know if we would ever reach that point. Uh, my main thing here is we should decommodify those things that are necessary for survival. Um, by the way, uh, I will say this, folks. I am not defending the Soviet Union. I hope you all know that by now. I, however, have interviewed people who lived in the Soviet Union, and the things they say that were good about the Soviet Union were that they never had to worry about housing. There were no homeless people, at least not everywhere. They had housing, and again, not complimenting the Soviet Union, mass killing, mass death. Okay, don't get me wrong, and they basically had a bunch of other things. So you can have a system that does decommodify things that works. Now, again, not saying that's the Soviet Union, but things like that can be useful. Um, yeah, there we go. You're right, Big Braden. Coordination would be a huge issue. But that's why you would need the people to control that. You would need a government apparatus run by the people, okay, to control that and hold it democratically accountable. Right now, folks, if you want to talk about accountability, corporations have basically no accountability or barely any. They've been massively deregulated. I would be actually more comfortable with things like water, electricity, housing, and food being controlled by a government that is accountable to a democratic society versus private companies who are accountable only to shareholders to make those decisions. That is my opinion. Um, Long Beach Dragon. I'm sorry. What did Alice say? What did Alyssa said here? Let me go back here. Missed it. Um, uh, yeah, coordination is the biggest issue. But folks, I will say this. I'm trying to process what you mean by that. It needs coordination when it's owned by a company. It would just be that. First of all, in a company, you have positions that are only there for the purpose of extracting profit. As a matter of fact, it would lower costs if you decommodified those things because there would be less positions. And now, yes, it'd be under the control of the government, but you have to have coordination when it's run by a company. I'm s- I Maybe I'm misunderstanding. I'm Yeah. Okay. JK says telecom used to be state owned, so was electricity, water, etc. It worked. Then they privatized it. Now it's just about profit and more. Yeah. Okay. And also, Big Brain. I'm actually very curious about this. You mentioned that the water in California, decommodifying, for example, water makes it increasingly more difficult to maintain the system from treatment through delivery. Electricity, like Lee Lane said, uh, I'm sorry, what so I wait, so d is that what happened in California? Did they decommodify it and then it went to hell in a handbasket? I was under the impression, maybe I'm please literally tell me if I'm wrong, I'm literally asking. I thought that the reason, like, wildfires happened was because of PG&E, which were privately run companies. Am I misunderstanding you? Please, if you don't mind clarifying, I am curious. Um, uh yeah, and that is another point there, Shut. The fact that the system is built in a way to handle it is not built in a way to handle it does not automatically mean we can't automatically do something else. It means the system itself needs to change, and it's bad to punish for being poor. Yeah, I agree with you, Shut. Oh, I got you, Long Beach. Right? Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, yeah, that's okay. So again, uh, like I a lot of times decommod. And for example, in Texas, they have a decommodified electric grid. I mean, almost most of the U.S. has a decommodified electric grid. And what ended up happening, folks, when those companies often have no incentive to, for example, make their electric lines resilient and stuff because that costs money and lowers profits. So there was like a couple years ago where Texas, it got very cold there suddenly, and the companies had not prepared for a sudden cold wave, and a ton of people were suddenly left without electricity. And as I recall, some people died because of it. And so it's an issue of incentives, right? Private companies sometimes, because they have a profit motive, do not have the incentive necessarily to do what's best for people. They have an incentive to do what's best for profits. Now, I will say this, folks, and to defend the people who disagree with this, who are here right now. Um, Yep, you're right, Alan. I'll say what Alan said. I don't think it's a coincidence that all these countries that provide basic necessities for their citizens have higher quality of life and even tend to live longer. Totally agree. Totally agree. I mean, you look at the happiness scale and stuff, the happiest countries are the ones that are more decommodified and things like that. Thank you, Long Beach Dragon. Yes, a cruise's sudden Cancun trip. Yeah, I love that, don't you? Okay. So, all right. Yeah, that's also a good point, Oscar Fernandez. Marx didn't really think about ecosystem collapse, which we're going to be faced with, which is another reason why we need these private companies to be put in line because they're destroying the environment. And the government can do that too, by the way, folks. Just look at China. But yeah, yeah. Okay, guys, this is great. These are great comments. All right, so we'll stop there for now on that conversation. I think Yeah. Okay. Um, that was a great conversation. Loved it. Loved it very much. So once again, folks, if we get to 5 super chats, I will show you something. We will have a little show and tell. And I'll probably decide because I will have to go up and get it. But if we do that, maybe I'll decide in the moment whether what exactly I show you. But there is a box up there full of stuff, so I don't have to show you the flag. I know we kind of decided that it would be okay if I did, but I just want everyone to feel comfortable, especially because can't stand fascists. Okay, so um, uh, okay, next topic, class. Thank you, guys. Uh, yes. Oh, Big Braden, totally support that. Totally support it. Big Braden says, last thing on Marxism, play Disco Elysium. Yes, for all the gamers out there, play Disco Elysium. I know at least one person in chat that couldn't really get into it, but Disco Elysium is a game that sort of explains all these things in a very coherent and very interesting way. It is a artistic experience. It is a wonderful experience. Play Disco Elysium. Um, okay, guys. So let's go on to the next segment. Thank you very much. I think it was Alice that said that was a great segment. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. So my thought is, folks, if it's a very good game, yeah, very good game. So again, folks, if we get 5 more super chats, I will show you an artifact of some sort, and from World War II. And if you'd like to join, become a member, you can click the join button beneath my page. Blah 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 blah. Self promotion. Edward Bernays. Blah 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 blah. Petty bourgeoisie stuff, or some people might get that. What I mean by when I say petty bourgeoisie. Regardless, anyway, give me the if you want to become a member, you can as little as 99 cents a month join. You'll also get that cute, very very. That's a good point, Lilian. Let's do that. We'll do that. Okay, but I'll show you another object that doesn't have that on there. Okay, um, uh, what? Oh, Long Beach Dragon, we're gonna move the camera a little bit. If that's what you're referring to, Long Beach Dragon. Oh yes, okay. Oh wait, no, I think I moved it the wrong way. Oh no. Okay, it's not actually nothing too bad, folks. It's just a grinder for herbs. Herbs. I love grinding up rosemary, basil. I just do it all the time. Anyway, uh, Long Beach Dragon. How dare you, Long Beach Dragon? Anyway, yeah, it's a parsley grinder. There you go. Okay. Moving on. Let's go on to the next. Okay. Oh, really? Is it? Wait, wait, was that what you're referring to, or did I just give that what is away from me? What is over on my little table next to the lamp? Um, Above and behind. Oh, the Ukrainian flag? Yeah, and the sword. Anyway, okay. Uh, it is true. Rosemary does need to be ground up. Okay, so anyway, let's move on. So, by the way, folks, we do occasionally have streams. I already had one where there was let's put it this way, we were all talking about rosemary. Anyway, moving on. So let's go on now. There is I wanted to further left. I am going crazy. Further left. I'm going crazy. I'm not sure what it is. Yeah, you're making me paranoid. Oh, not OnlyFans camera. No, that's a sensor. Actually, I don't even use that anymore. That I just haven't taken it down because I'm lazy. It's a sensor or I'm sorry, like a surround sound thing. But it's not hooked up anymore. I just haven't removed it from the ceiling. My OnlyFans camera. Yeah, nonsense. How dare you, Long Beach Dragon? I would never suggest to do that. And by the way, folks, you can find me on OnlyFans. No, I'm kidding. You can't find me on OnlyFans. But anyway, okay. Um, my ceiling grinder. Okay. Yes, but that's okay. All right. So folks, let's go on here. Def of Cam getting them Jester pics. Yeah, exactly. Posing with just the collar on. No, I'm kidding. Okay, moving on. What I thought we would do next here. Let me set it up. First of all, someone in Discord sent me this, and I wanted to show it to all of you. I think it was Alan W. who did this. Was this you, Alan W., who sent me the video from Fox News? Now this is on Twitter, so And don't worry, I'll pull it up here in a second. I'm just getting it set up. Uh, thank you, Gracie. Thank you very much. It's a lovely outfit. I wonder how many people stop by and that catches their attention and they wonder what's going on with me. Um, so it can't find you on OnlyFans yet, right? Yeah, folks, if I don't make enough off this channel, well, actually, no, that might encourage some of you to make sure I don't make enough money. I was going to say, if I don't make enough, maybe I'll have to go to OnlyFans. Okay, now no one's going to give me money. But anyway, okay. So we can let's I'm going to show you this. Now, this was sent to me, I believe, by Al. Yep, it was Alan. Okay. Alan sent me this. I just thought this was hilarious. Thank you very much, Alan, for sending this to me. Let me get it set up here. This is just a clip from Fox News segment. All right. Now, folks, let me make sure the audio is I'm already kind of laughing to myself, is set up here. Okay, properties, there we go. Okay, now, again, folks, as we are, you know what, I need to move this back, but it's going a bit too far. Okay. We need to, okay, so if you have trouble hearing it, let me know. I will adjust the sound. We all know how I basically struggle. PG Gaming, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I know, right, folks? Yeah, you should. Yeah, go back and look at the live stream from yesterday. You'll see me wearing my makeup. I look like Heath Ledger from the Joker. Uh, okay. Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. I know I may be traumatizing you, Big Braden, by having the dear leader here, the Orange Mussolini, staring you down while I'm talking. So, folks, if you that's true. I could do that. I could release a nude calendar. That'd be kind of, that would work. So what I'm going to do here, folks, is I will, again, I'm going to play it. If you have trouble hearing it, let me know. You know how bad I am with the audio. So if you have trouble hearing it, just let me know. Okay. Big Braden says, Donald, stop staring at me. I'm over 18. I'm not his type. Ooh, that's a dark joke. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But we all agree, I'm sure. All right. Let's see what happens. So this is a Fox News segment. All right. And you have to understand, folks, apparently, as it says on here, in this Fox News summit, Trump calls into this Fox and Friends. Okay, and it says Trump's accidentally is outing Sean Hannity's relationship with Ainsley Earhart. Okay, apparently they're in a relationship, and uh, and it was unknown. But then Trump, who doesn't have a filter, just kind of uh, outs both of them live when he calls in. Okay, and if there's something that does brings me joy, it is the suffering of Fox News hosts and the discomfort while they can't really push back against Donald Trump because they are obedient little slugs to him. So let's enjoy what we are seeing here. Okay. Again, folks, if the audio is off, let me know as quickly as you can. I will pause it and I will make sure the audio is better. Let's go.
That's the greatest relationship. I hope I'm not breaking it.
Here we go.
Yeah, there's a guy named Sean Hannity. He might take a very lovely young lady that he knows very well to dinner in Washington, and they don't have to. And she's sitting right next to you, by the way.
That's right.
I don't want to get him in trouble, so I better explain exactly. We don't want any secrets here. But
exactly right.
that's the greatest relationship. I hope I'm not breaking it. This could be the biggest. Hey, this could be the most important thing I said. But let me tell you, those are two great, Ainsley and Sean, great people. And when they go out to dinner, I don't want to see them get mugged. Now they can go out, they can hold hands, they can walk down the street. They're both superstars. I want to know who makes more money, because he's got to be making a lot.
Mr. President, we're so happy for them. But on a serious note, Mr. President, when you have those world leaders, because this is the topic of conversation for the whole world. When you have
That's the end of it, folks. But you got to admit, the guy on the left. I don't know his name. Forgive me. I don't waste my time watching these people. Either monsters. Okay, but the guy on the left, when you can tell he's trying to stop Trump. He's like, Mr. President, but because he's a slug, he's a fascist slug. He can't actually get it out. He's like, I can't interrupt. I can't interrupt the dear leader. And so and then Ainsley in the middle, you see her. She's kind of her lips are kind of like, yeah. Well, that just got revealed live on air. I just love it. I love the suffering all around. Kudos, anyone. Yeah, I love it. I thought that was great. Thank you very much, Alan W, for sharing that with me. Love it, love it, love it. Did other people hear an echo? Thank you for saying that, Promethean Rebel. Well, was there an echo when I did that? Was there an echo? Okay, yeah, okay, I'm gonna read some of these first. Uh, yeah, money equals human value. 100% Gippy Gaming. Yes, money does equal human value to these people. 100%. Promethean Rebel. Was I the only? Oh, okay. You already said that. I already mentioned that. The pearl clutching about Newsom trolling is hilarious. Oh, really, Jake? I need to look that up. I'd love to hear that. Uh, yeah, I love all these comments. Macy says, "Who puts phones in the nursing home?" I know, right? Yeah, yeah, okay. Elder abuse for real. Yes, the Delta kills. Yeah, and again, folks, I say again. Now, of course, Biden did have cognitive decline, but you notice that the same people that were like, "Hey, that's cognitive decline," or this, or have no, yeah, seem to completely ignore Donald Trump's obvious cognitive decline. That's so weird. Okay, I'll figure out why all my videos keep echoing. I'm doing something wrong, folks. I would not be surprised. Thank you, Gimpy Gaming, for saying that. Um, welcome, Meowzord. When he calls in, he always sounds like your senile grandparent rambling while you try to get off the call. Yeah, yeah, he does. Okay, I just love it, love it, love it. And at least they kept Biden behind doors. Why do we have to suffer? Oh, I know, I know. Yeah, not just you, Promethean Rebel. Um, if yeah, Delta kills also another good reference, another good reference. No, I think the curse here is that I'm a millennial and I'm not nearly as competent with tech as, for example, my students were. Yeah, okay. All right. So I thought you'd all think that was funny. Big Braden, you're right. That's another great video when Fox News complains. You know, there was that Fox News clip where they were saying, well, the new M&M models aren't sexy enough. Like they're not as sexy. Which is funny to me because why did they think that they were sexy previously? I mean, more power to you. You do what you want to in your own bedroom, but I'm not really thinking, "Oh, wow, the green M&M." Okay, anyway, okay. All right. So I now, folks, um, yeah, that's a fair point, Promethean Rebel. He kinda always has been, Trump always has been in cognitive decline, but he's been more energetic personally, so it kinda covers it up. Yeah, yeah. Um I know. Well, we can hope he won't, Big Braden. I mean, of course, if the FBI is listening, I mean, theoretically, right? If he weren't to make it through his term because of a medical condition, of course, I'm sure none of us would be sad. Okay, so Luigi Mangione. So anyway, I'm going to point something else out. Okay, so I now well, the other thing I wanted to do, folks, is this. Now that we've watched that, um, uh, there were some other clips here that I thought were interesting to show you. We have not talked about I've not shown you many clips of Zorhan Mamdani. Maybe we'll do that at some other point, but love him to death. Also a very attractive man for all the, okay, you know what I mean, very attractive man anyway. I'm gonna go to New York and open up Grinder anyway. So Aaron Rupar, game, da, 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 da. All right, so the other thing I wanted to show you is I actually had no, okay, you can all hate me for this. I have a Truth Social account. I know, I know, I know. You have to understand. I study fascism. I think it's very interesting to see what the other side is saying and stuff. And who would like to go on my Truth Social account and kind of just scroll through whatever madness is happening on there? You know what? Let's take a vote. Let's take a vote. I am curious. I don't want to force anyone. Uh, yeah, okay. So I'm going to do a little thing here. Again, folks, if we get 5 super chats, I will show you a historical artifact, probably a Nazi flag. I also have a hat from the German Air Force, the Luftwaffe. My grandfather captured. If you want to see that, so we can decide. I'll actually ask my dad what he thinks we should show because he might want to be here for some of those things. Okay, so here's the poll. Should we? Okay, uh, True Social or Twitter scroll? Um, or screw it. I'm going to call it Twitter just to spite Musk. Okay, True Social or Twitter Scroll. Okay. Um, so Truth Social, oh, or Twitter. Okay, also known as X for those who might be confused. Okay. Okay. So what do we want, folks? Do we want Truth Social or do we want Twitter? Okay. Start the poll. I'll take a moment here. Let people make their decisions. All right. That's a good point, Shut. Maybe we shouldn't do. We want Twitter. Okay. I will say that's a good point, Shut. There might be some crazy stuff on there. I don't want to get. Oh, that is also true, Alice. You know, maybe we shouldn't. I have seen other people do it on live stream before. But maybe I mean I'm only subscribed to certain channels on here, so it's not like anything inappropriate. Nothing like gory will pop up. Um. Okay, so most people want Twitter. How many votes do we got? Yeah, that's a good point, guys. Maybe I should be more careful with that. Okay, yeah, I can. You know, folks. I mean, so this True Social, this I'm sorry, this Twitter account is my like professional one. It's the one I use for the stream. It's only registered. It only follows people that are political and stuff. Nothing too terrible. As you can see, there's just a bunch of political clips. Um, okay, yeah. So let's look at some of the stuff on here at least. Well, we could do a Discord suggestions, Macy. Of course, I can't really put. You know what? Yeah, no, just to combat any issues that might come from that. As you all know, I'm still learning here. I really appreciate the feedback people give me. We could look at some of the. Obviously, I won't show the Discord on stream like I did yesterday accidentally, or yeah. You know what though? In the meantime, before I do that, I could. Am I? Can I do that? Is oh, was it down here? Breaking point segment. Was it on here? I have looked for these already. Again, I've already gone down this page, so I know there's nothing horrible on it. Um, um, oh, I don't see it on there. All right. Well, okay, folks. Uh, it's on YouTube. Okay, let me take a look. I don't know if we can watch that. I don't. We might not be able to watch it on stream. But I'll take a look here. Let me give me a moment, folks. I will look into it. And okay, YouTube.
With Grammarly, every email you send can be polished and ready to go.
Let's take a look here. So, let me reread what you mentioned. I'll say. Okay, we'll look at that. Where did I see this? What was it, Alice? Say I'm trying to find that one. That's true. Okay. Alice, what was the one you recommended? Just I think I can't find it now. You mentioned it. The one with breaking points. Okay, thank you. Let's look that. I'll definitely. Oh, I love. Okay, breaking points would be fun. Breaking points with Slotkin. Now, folks, if it tells me that I'm about to be shut off because of oh, I have not seen this. Okay, this looks like it'll be fun. All right. Again, folks, if I get cut off, I will have to stop it because they might say, "Hey, stop streaming it because it's copyrighted." We will see. Okay. All right. I'll move this over here. If it is, again, I'll warn you. If I suddenly stop, you'll know why. Okay. Um, okay. Let's go. So this is breaking points. I might speed it up a bit. That might help with the not getting caught. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so Alyssa Slotkin, very pro a lot of things, okay, that I don't agree with. On Epstein, Zoran, and Israel. Okay, let's take a look. Let's go.
This is Slotkin of Michigan Center. Thank you very much for joining us. We
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
We have a very limited amount of time. This is the internet, so you're here, and it's important that we ask some of the questions that are animating some of the younger voters and others. I assume that's part of the reason that you're here. The first is about
folks, I'm just making noise to try and mess with the
a lot of America's interests. So you're a
thing.
former CIA officer. Do you
1.5, you say, Macy? Okay.
Connections to U.S. or Israeli intelligence agencies?
So, not that I've ever seen or heard, but there's really, no, I haven't asked. But this is like a solvable question because.
So, folks, if there is an echo, let me see what I can do. Again, I've been having a hell of a time trying to figure out where this echo is coming from. Give me a moment here. I'm going to see what I can do. Excuse me. Okay, application audio. 1 second.
President Trump's CIA
okay. I think I know maybe where it's coming from. Is this better?
Director John Radcliffe can answer this question, right? There is.
What do we think?
No shortage of people in this administration who can answer that question. I would be very surprised. I'm going to be honest. I know your views on it. I would be surprised.
Okay.
But I'm like a Middle East analyst. I was doing my time going after terrorist groups.
There we go. Excellent. Okay, I figured it out. I had a setting wrong, folks. Oh, shocking, right? The incompetent fool in the room, literally dressed like a fool, so it's okay. All right. Yeah, that's very possible. We figured it out. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we'll continue. Let's hear what nonsense is going to come out of Slotkin's mouth.
Groups and militias in Iraq, and so I never saw it. I never heard anything about that. I again would be surprised, but there's an easy way to solve that problem.
Well, that's the question then. So in terms of, because I know you've expressed some concern about classified information, et cetera, in the past, would you be fine then with a full release of these Trump Epstein files, even if they did reveal?
Ooh, what do we think she's going to answer? Yes, I did, Promethean Rebel. How dare you know? What do we think? Do we think that, okay, we'll see if she weaves and dodges here.
An intelligence connection.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, like, it's such.
Hey, welcome. I think I've seen you before, Yash Bagwe. Welcome back. Oh, I joined the club, Delta Kill. I need a coffee too. I prefer tea because I'm an aristocrat. Let's drink the tea. But okay, let's see.
A distraction from, in my mind, like what I really care about, which is helping people like live well in Michigan.
Yeah, folks, I'll turn up the volume of the YouTube video. I think I do agree with you. I'm actually having a little trouble hearing it in my mic and my ear thing here. So I'll turn up the application. All right. And if this is too loud, let me know. I turned up a little bit. Okay.
Just get it over with and get it out. And
okay,
this wasn't
good,
my issue.
Good.
It's still not the thing that wakes me up in the morning and I want to work on. But I think it's okay to say it's
well,
a full
why not?
distraction now.
Why doesn't
everyone's
it?
Talking about it?
Wait. So wait. I'm sorry. Let's pause there. Why doesn't the largest I'm not saying it on loud on YouTube, but why doesn't the largest trafficking case in American history not? Why is that not something you want to work on, Alyssa Slotkin? I don't understand that. I'm not accusing her of anything. I'm just saying that's kind of weird. All right.
Unveil it, do whatever you need to do, answer the questions, and move past it.
Well, that's the last question then. So there's some accusations here from the Republicans on Epstein here, just about, why didn't you care for over 4 years? I know you asked the question in 2020. You said, I don't care particularly about Bill Clinton, et cetera. I mean, that's somewhat understandable, but, we do have like a person, very suspicious circumstances, let alone, the sex trafficking organization, others. So, why don't you answer that question? Like, why is this now is the time?
$10 says that Crystal is going to be fire. I love Crystal when she does debates and stuff. She's a really good journalist.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's horrible when you have a pedophile and someone who had a literal pyramid scheme of recruiting 14 and 15-year-old girls for illegal sex. I mean, it's horrible. At the time, I sort of saw it as like one of these horrible stories that comes out every 5 months, about somebody. I think the Weinstein thing had happened. There weren't Michiganders, to my knowledge, who were involved, women, young girls who were involved. So
Oh yeah, it wasn't Michigander, so it doesn't matter. It was just American citizens, American women who were involved. So who cares, right? Yeah, they weren't Michiganders. It's not relevant to me. Real fast, folks. I will say I think I kind of poisoned the well when I said that the stuff with the flag. Would you? How about I change the goal here? I'll put on makeup again. Okay, if we get 5 more super chats, I will put on makeup. I will complete the Jester look just like yesterday. If that helps, okay. So we'll do that. Okay. And how about, well, yeah, we'll decide. And then the people who give those chats can sort of decide amongst themselves what colors I put on. Okay. If you want me to put on the orange face like I did yesterday to look like Trump, that's fine. How about we do that? So I know it says artifact, but just because I think I did poison the well, let's do the makeup. Okay. I can complete the look. Let's go.
I kind of saw it as like a horrible moment, but not particularly something that's like going to decide whether someone in my state can buy a house or get a good
Thank you,
job.
Delta
So
Kills.
to me, it was just like it wasn't like a strategic issue, right, for me. And then now it just is like grown. And I think there is a difference between saying some rich guy or a former politician was named in those things versus the president of the United States. That to me is apples to oranges, because one of them is leading the free world and one of them's not. So if his name is in there as it appears it is, just like deal with it.
Wait, I'm sorry. No, I don't care if you're the leader of the free world or you're not the leader of the free world. If you're in those files, why is she downplaying that? I don't understand this. This is the dumbest. Okay.
At this point. And, my 10-year-old nephew understands that the president is trying to dodge, trying to distract, trying to talk about other things.
Yeah, this is classic Democratic stuff. Trump, 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 Trump. Yeah, we all hate Trump. We get it. So why, anyway?
He hates answering this question. Like, we get it. So it
What if you can create your own website by saying, this is what I want?
Whoops.
With Wix, you can.
feels off to the average person, right? To a 10-year-old, they're like, did he do something, right? So just get through it, get it out, and let's move on to for me, like real economic issues.
So then if piece of legislation.
Okay, oh my God, not everything, folks, is an economic issue. What the Epstein stuff is not an economic issue, and yet still very important. Why? Most of the time I would agree with her. Stop talking about the non-economic stuff, but when it comes to something like this, why? Oh my God! Even when the Democrats try to talk about economics, they do it in the wrong way. I don't. Okay.
Comes forward, you would vote for it to support the release of the files. Sure. Okay, all right. So then let's talk about the future of the Democratic Party. I know that's something you've been interested in. Democratic approval hit an all-time low from the Wall Street Journal.
Sorry, do you notice, Crystal? It's like she's preparing to. You can tell she really wants to talk. I'm very excited to see what she has to say.
At the same time, we've seen the rise more recently of anti-establishment candidates, people like Zoran Mamdani. Give us some of your thoughts there about the future of the Democratic Party, and particularly in the context of Mamdani's victory in New York City.
Well, I guess as a good Midwesterner, Michigander, I'm never going to say that what happens in New York City represents all of America. Sorry, we're a big country, and I would never pretend to totally understand New York City politics. I didn't particularly understand Eric Adams. I didn't particularly understand, I genuinely, right? But I think the message and the hot take out of that election is actually not terribly dissimilar from what we heard in the November election when Trump won, right? Which is what? People are still focused on the cost of living and not being able to achieve what they thought they could achieve, right?
Of course, a lot of people also are anti-genocide. That might be something else that people care about. They don't like seeing children get slaughtered. 10 Bucks says she doesn't mention that. She'll probably ignore the Ghazi issue, or she'll go after Mamdani for that.
And then number two, people are looking for a new generation of leadership. I don't think it's hard to miss those hot takes. I can have plenty of disagreements with what I've heard Mr. Mamdani propose, and I do. But that message coming out of that election—
What do you disagree with?
Just, my family was a 4th-generation hot dog business. Like, I am here because we live the American dream through—
Remember how I said, folks, under capitalism, we sort of put people on a pedestal who have built businesses and stuff. And I honestly, like, if her family did do that, as an immigrant and stuff, hey, more power to you. That does take effort. But it's just an interesting cultural thing.
Okay.
And so, like, a lot of free stuff, to me, is not the answer.
Is that so? Oh, you know what? I did know that, Big Braden. She's ex-CIA. Oh, okay. That adds a new dimension. I forgot about that. I think I did know that, but I forgot that she's ex-CIA. Oh, okay. Ooh, wow. Wow. All right.
Sustainable. I don't think that it—
Oh, really? I would say that's ballpark, Frank. So not a small business. Okay. Yep. All right. Well, we got that solved.
It actually fixes the underlying problem. But I can have those disagreements. I think this is I would be thrilled to have that conversation with him or anyone else about, like, hey, we agree that there's an economic problem here. what we do to solve it, let's have that debate. And adults can debate and not like want to kill each other's children.
Well, let's talk then about leadership. So you just talked about that. We see a lot of that
Oh
from
my
our
God,
shows on the
Alan.
Democratic side of our audience, is furious with Democratic leadership. I mean, do you still support Chuck Schumer's leadership? He hasn't given an interview in about a month.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, for me,
Here's
I
the
mean, I've
bootlicking.
now served in the Senate for 6 months and the House before that. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries have hard jobs. Like herding cats, it's not fun. I've said for a very long time, long before I got into the Senate and long before President Biden dropped out, that we need a new generation of leadership. You can
You know,
feel
I always love that because if it's a tough job for them, maybe they should quit. I mean, that's their job, right? Their job, yeah. The nature of their job is that it's difficult, and they decided to run. They decided to run for the position. They decided to get it in theory to represent the people. So if it's too hard for them, they should quit. It's a tough job. Well, I don't give a shit. Okay, it's a tough job to be a brain surgeon, but the brain surgeon has to do brain surgery, and they better not mess it up. Okay.
it in, and I think at this point, I mean, especially New York, right? You're looking at New York, it's like, I'd rather roll the dice with someone new than have like the warmed over leftovers that I've already known.
Yeah, true.
So I think we have a problem with that across the board. And I think one of the
Agreed,
things I can
Alan.
do as the youngest Democratic woman in the Senate, and you know, I'm not young, I'm just young for the Senate.
Probably, JK.
To be clear.
You're young for us.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
I mean, is push on that and try to give younger leaders a voice in this party in a very real way. And to me, that's upward pressure. That pressure that you're talking about from the people is good.
So then shouldn't they endorse him? I mean, what kind of a message Schumer?
Oh my God, I love Crystal. You can tell. Look at her face. She's going in for the kill. You're right. Who was it that just said? I didn't say it out loud, but someone said that she looks like an animal stalking her prey. Here she goes. This is the pounce, folks. This is where you see the cheetah come out of the, brush to come after the gazelle. Okay, here we go.
They're both from New York.
Johnny, they're both New Yorkers.
Yeah.
And what kind of a message does it send if, like, I mean, this guy won the Democratic primary.
Yeah.
He is the Democratic nominee.
Yeah.
It was overwhelming. If then the centrist leadership of the party said, we can't get behind
Yeah,
him.
I mean, you just asked me before we started the exact same question about the Michigan Senate primary, and I'm like, Michigan Democrats don't get involved in primaries. We all are friends. So I can't speak to what they're doing. I think, I hope that they're meeting. I mean, if this person is...
They did.
Yeah, okay,
and
I'm
Hakeem
sorry.
Jeffries still refused to endorse him. I mean, think about it from this context. Like, let's say in 2028, a more moderate figure wins the Democratic primary, and a bunch of progressives, AOC or whoever says, we're not backing, we don't agree with you. I feel like you would have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I will say this. The way that this party works is when there's a coalition that sticks together. That's like a numbers issue. That's a data issue.
Okay.
And so I'm always going to be
bullshit.
someone who's trying to find unity. That doesn't mean we all agree with each other. And I think I wasn't in the conversations where they met privately. What they debated, what they talked about, I don't know. But to me, we got to figure out what's common among all Democrats right now, and that's why I focus on the economy, because that is, to me, the cost of living and people not being able to achieve what their parents achieved is the existential issue of our time. Is the
Yeah, so apparently we can't do two things at once, right? We can't talk about economic issues and fight against genocide. Apparently, I don't know, and we can't obviously talk about the Epstein files. Apparently, because we're all super incompetent. We all only have one brain cell. We can only focus on one thing at once. That's how they view you all. I hope you know that. That's how. I mean, anyway.
Issue of like all the right wing, left wing, like Americans. I don't even think it's a Democratic Party thing. And to me, that's where I spend my time, because I think 80% of my constituents in Michigan, that's where they live, is like, I just want to be able to go to Disneyland and take my kids the way my dad took me. So that's where I focus on. I'm happy to sit down with any leader. I can't speak to their particular decision to endorse or not.
But,
I'm not endorsing in my own
Right, but
primary.
just the last question.
But he won the primary.
Right, that's my question.
That's what's different.
in
By
your-
12,
I'm sorry to
12
ask
points.
this. They have another election though, yeah?
A general election.
General
Yeah,
election.
He's
but
the
it's-
Democratic nominee.
I see. I'm sorry. This is why I'm saying I don't follow New York politics. And I think you'd have to ask them. I don't know. I know that for me, whoever wins the Democratic primary in the state of Michigan for the Senate seat that's up, that's who I will endorse, regardless of who it is.
All right, that was my last question. So I'm going to turn it to Chris now.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I'm actually a little curious, and forgive me if this is impolite. Like, I'm curious why you wanted to talk to us.
What do you mean?
Well, like, we don't have actually a lot of senators, especially ones who have very different ideology than us, reach out. So I'm curious what your goal was and why you thought to come here.
Well, first of all, I think you have a good audience. I mean, right?
We agree.
If you appealed to like 4 friends on YouTube or whatever, then I probably wouldn't be here. But I think, to me, part of the problem is that people have kind of gone to their corners. And I live this, right? I live on my family farm in a town that voted heavily for Donald Trump. I've never won my town. I've never won my precinct. I've never won my neighbors. We get along, but I never won them, and I probably never will. So to me, I think that
So many good comments.
people have gone to their corners, and like people who used to be able to talk about politics and disagree don't even get in the same room together. So I kind of like the idea
Well,
of
admittedly, it is kind of hard to be in a room with fascists. I'm not saying all MAGA are fascists, but I mean, it's kind of a thing, right? I mean, I wouldn't feel comfortable. I mean, okay, all this civility politics. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of the civility politics. Well, why don't we just get in the room and talk? Why don't we just? Okay, yeah, okay, I get that. That's partly important for politics, but we've gone beyond that. Former CIA Alyssa Slotkin. Okay. Yeah, okay, the middle ground nonsense. I'm just a little town girl. Oh, Big Braden, first fantastic use of the new emoji. Okay, by the way, if you want the emoji, you can join my channel, and for 99 cents a month, you can use these lovely emojis, and you'll have a little hat next to your name. Thank you, Big Braden, for using it. That's a perfect one for my dad's head. Oh, sorry, didn't realize she's a small town gal. That makes it okay. Oh, absolutely, yeah. She's one of you guys, don't you know? She's one of all of us. Okay.
show. Like, it was interesting to me when my team pitched me, right? We go through, and like, there's no hiding it. Lots of people are like, how do we evolve in this new space? Yeah. Like that's not it's not that conversation isn't happening. It is, and I think that's good, and to the credit of lots of shows like yours.
Yeah.
But I
What
think
do I always
your
say,
show
folks?
appealed to
Actions
me
speak louder than words, so they can talk about it all they want, but they better change something. They better change something.
as I was being pitched because you guys don't agree.
Yep. Oh, hey,
And,
Death died today.
I
Death
am
died today.
very
Another
focused.
original.
My dad was a lifelong Republican. My mom a lifelong Democrat.
That is my dad, Louise.
Michiganders want to get back to a place where we can disagree on politics and not have it be so like bitter.
Well, see, okay, if you folks know I'm a gay man, right? I have trouble not being bitter when the other side doesn't really believe in my existence or attempts to oppress me, et cetera. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. And you don't even have to be in a minority group, like oppressing you economically and things like that. So, yeah.
So I hear you on the idea of like you want to talk about the economics and the unifying and cost of living, and I think that ignores a big elephant in the room, especially when you're talking about even Zoran Mamdani. The reason Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer don't want to endorse him is because of his position on Israel. The single most viral clip that he had in that election actually wasn't about cost of living, even though that's what he wanted to make his campaign about. His opponents, Andrew Cuomo in particular, wanted to make it all about accusing him of anti-Semitism and attacking.
Which, of course, folks, we can see, Zoran Mamdani being a Muslim. Of course, I'm sure you've all seen the absolutely disgusting propaganda attempting to use Islamophobia as a weapon against Zoran Mamdani. Absolutely disgusting. Trying to equate him with 9/11. Absolutely disgusting. I could go on and on and on because it's disgusting. Okay. Oh, welcome to chat, Elliot Waffles. Yes, I totally agree. Tired of these Democrats that are still acting like it's 2016. Either behave like you were fighting fascism or resign. Could not agree with you more. What are we doing? Okay.
Attacking him for his views on Israel and Palestine. So the most viral moment from that entire campaign, I believe, was this moment on the debate stage. Guys, this is E1. Let me go ahead and play this for you, and then I want to get your reaction.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs.
See, but think about that's kind of weird, right? Like, why is that a question we need to ask? What does visiting Israel have to do with the American people? It's a foreign country, right? Like, I don't understand the obsession. I mean, I understand it. I get the money that's involved, a lot of, campaign contributions. Like, oh, God.
That's in their synagogues and temples or at their homes or at the subway platform, because ultimately we need to focus on delivering on their concerns.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
Not
as a Jewish state?
No,
as a state with equal rights.
Yeah, of course. Like, unless you're like a lunatic far-right person who thinks that Israel should just disappear off the map, and no, I don't know anyone who thinks that Israel, quote unquote, shouldn't exist. Okay. There are people living there. Obviously. This is framing it in a way. You all know what I'm saying here, right? They're framing it in a way to trap him. No, you're right, Long Beach Dragon. New York City does. But but it has nothing really to do. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll keep going.
You're not going to believe what happened.
Oh, well, we got an ad, so we'll wait for a second.
On Monday.com. So I started the biggest.
Now, this was considered very controversial when he said it, and I think the results are in at this point that he didn't win in spite of his position there. He won in part because of it, including if you listen to Andrew Cuomo's numbers, he won a majority of Jewish voters inside of New York City. And so what I'm curious for your view on is, while, you know, I would love to debate you on your healthcare policy. I think we need Medicare for all. You think public option, your housing policy, et cetera. I'm just being really real with you. I don't really hear
Yes,
what
he
you
did.
say.
You're right.
If you are
Zoran won
still
a
supporting
majority
a
of the
genocide
Jewish
in
vote
Gaza.
in New York City.
And
Because again,
that's, for
folks,
me,
just to reemphasize here, criticism of Israel has nothing to do with criticism of Judaism. I've said this 1,000 times. Jews are people. There are multiple different perspectives in the Jewish community. Some of the greatest people who speak out against the genocide in Gaza are in fact Jewish. It is there's the constant attempt to conflate the two things. Which, by the way, is almost itself anti-Semitic, because, yeah, if you keep trying to conflate it, there will be some idiots who do conflate it. So I don't understand. Okay. I'm going to go back a tiny bit just because I think I was talking. I missed a little bit, but let's go.
Really hear what you say if you are still supporting a genocide in Gaza.
100% Big Brain.
And that's, for me, you know, I'm speaking for myself, but I know there are millions of other people who feel the same, that you have to at least cross this sort of moral threshold. And what it indicates to people, and I think part of why, you know, Zoran won so.
Did I go forward too far? Did I accidentally go forward? I'm sorry.
This was considered very controversial when he said it, and I think the results are in at this
we'll go
point
there.
that he didn't win in spite of his position there. He won in part because of it, including, if you listen to Andrew Cuomo's numbers, he won a majority of Jewish voters inside of New York City. And so what I'm curious for your view on is, while, you know, I would love to debate you on your healthcare policy. I think we need Medicare for all. You think public option, your housing policy, et cetera. I'm just being really real with you. I don't really hear what you say if you are still supporting a genocide in Gaza.
Good point.
And that's, for me, you know, I'm speaking for myself. But I know there are millions of other people who feel the same, that you have to at least cross this sort of moral threshold. And what it indicates to people, and I think part of why, you know, Zoran won so many people in New York City, young people in particular, but Jewish New Yorkers, people across the board, is because it was a sign of, number one, okay, you're focused on New York City first and foremost. Number two, you're willing to take the heat on an issue that is really difficult for you, where you're being overtly smeared as an anti-Semite. And number three,
guys, I got to tell you, I know I'm over personalizing this. Yeah, well, exactly, Oz. I have not fully shared with you all of the emails I have been getting, the hatred. Now, no one has threatened to harm me, but I mean, I know that happens to some people, but from my video talking about why I lost my job, I mean, ooh, the vitriol is it's scary. It really is. Anyway, so in the fact that Zoran Mamdani, as a Muslim man, had the bravery to stand on that position like that is just, that really speaks to his character. And folks, for him, that is a danger to his life. I am not exaggerating. Not only being a Muslim in America, but the okay.
You know, entrenched interest that's going to control. You have a spine, you have principles, you're willing to stand up for something. And so, you know, I'm curious for your reflections on that because of your voting record and where you've stood on this conflict.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the proudest moments that I had in my last election, where I just won on the same ballot as Donald Trump, was that I won a majority of Jewish voters in Michigan. We have a large Jewish population. And I won Dearborn Heights, and Hamtramck, the 3 Muslim-dominated cities. Trump won 2 out of the 3. So I think the thing that I would push back on is the voters vote with their feet, right? We have a moment in an election where they get to decide. And there was no issue that was more difficult for me in this last, I would say.
But here's the thing, folks, with the 2-party system, a lot of those voters had to decide between Alyssa Slotkin and a Republican. So do we think that a lot of those voters really do like Alyssa Slotkin, or is it more lesser of 2 evil type situation? Yeah, complete dodge. Totally, Alyssa, absolutely, complete dodge. So, I mean, I get that anyway.
6 years, but certainly in this last election, other than this issue, because it's personal. I'm a Middle East analyst by training. And so what I tried to do and why I think I managed—
Well, that's kind of an example. I mean, you're ex-CIA. Yeah, you can definitely, you know how to analyze the trajectory of a drone strike, I'm sure. Okay.
To win both those communities is call balls and strikes, literally up to this week on what's going on.
So let's talk a little bit more about that.
But I think it's important, right? If you're going to push on me, then I think, like, there's one of us that's had an election and had to appeal to my voters and win. And so it doesn't surprise me at all that Mr. Mamdani won. Or actually, I didn't know his name. I didn't know much about him until he won. But
yeah, the CIA is so pro-peace.
This issue is motivating people in a very visceral and personal way.
Yeah.
But it's not the only issue that my voters in Michigan care about.
Of course.
And the online world is extremely, extremely focused on this, but that doesn't always represent the majority. And I think if I can push back, like if we're out on the road every day in Michigan when I'm there.
I'm sorry. So she's saying that the majority of Americans are pro the genocide that's going on in Gaza, because all the stats I've seen have shown that that is absolutely not the case. It's the opposite. So I'm not sure what she means there. She's either lying or incompetent. Yeah. So, okay, let's go.
In some communities, that issue is the #1 issue, 100%. And like, I mean, up till this morning, right? Like people texting my phone and talking about a plan, some of the things we're working on. But I go outside the Detroit area, it's not in the top 40.
But Senator, it's not just a political issue, it's also a moral issue, is what I'm trying to get to. So let's talk about those, calling them balls and strikes, if you will. So first of all, do you accept that Israel has a policy of enforced famine and starvation in the Gaza Strip?
I think I literally put my name on a letter yesterday or last night.
VK, we totally will talk about the Dulles brothers sometime, the creation of the CIA, the crimes that the CIA have done. This might be a hot take here. I think the CIA should be abolished. It's a criminal organization in a lot of ways. There's very little oversight. It acts a lot of times independently of the state. It's a horrific organization in many ways. Okay. Okay.
Says like a policy of starvation. People are starting to starve, and in general, I mean, I served in places like Ramadi and Fallujah. I watched in 2004 and 2005 Al Qaeda terrorists drag American citizens behind a vehicle until they died.
I love that. Yash, you say, do you condemn the CIA? Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what they should ask.
Right, like horrible, and then string them up, like a lynching. Okay. We still had a responsibility to get aid into Fallujah, despite the fact that we were fighting Al-Qaeda cells in Fallujah, and I have been clear about that.
So this is a crime against humanity. Forced starvation is a crime against humanity.
The occupying power has a responsibility to get aid into the war zone, period. So by the law of war.
So in addition, do you accept?
By the way, I am very well acquainted with the law of war. This is sort of a side note here. Folks, that according to the law of war, if your country is being occupied, you have the legal right to use force to resist it. That is part of international law. It is legal combat to resist an occupation, which she just admitted was an occupation. So, yeah. Interesting thought.
That the Israeli plan, as reported by Haaretz, as discussed openly by ministers like Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, as backed by the President of the United States, is forced ethnic cleansing.
I think we have, as recently as yesterday, the Prime Minister of Israel talking about forced migration into certain areas and then potentially out of the country. That is not legal. That is not on any international standard since World War II. And I've been clear about that.
You're going to do what?
I would ask for a little bit of an open mind.
Well, what I would ask is, listen, I'm a YouTuber. I have my words. That's all I have. But you're a United States Senator. Like you're not the president, but you have power. So what are you going to do? Because so far what we've seen, I mean, you voted for some of the aid that's been used to massacre children and innocents. You have backed Israel, as far as I can tell, from your voting record at almost every turn. You voted for a definition of anti-Semitism.
I'm suddenly becoming straight, folks, watching Crystal here.
Anti-Zionism as anti-Semitism. You voted as a member of the House to sanction the ICC for indicting Benjamin Netanyahu, who you just admitted is a war criminal, by your own words. So are you going to join Senator Angus King, Senator Bernie Sanders in saying no more aid to this country that is committing war crimes against innocent civilians?
I think the first thing, if you're asking about what to do with power, and I would offer that right now Democrats own nothing in Washington. So
don't play powerless with me. You're a United States Senator. There are things you can do.
Oh my God, I love Crystal so much. Oh God, if she wasn't married to Kyle Kalinske, I would propose. Yeah, 100. You're right, Alan. According to international law, an illegally occupying nation does not have the legal right to resist the people that are resisting them. Okay, they don't have the right to use military force against a resisting force because they are the illegally occupying force. It's basic international law.
In terms of who runs our foreign policy, I just think it's interesting, right, that there was a ton of protests when Democrats were in charge.
There was a protest in Manhattan yesterday.
Okay. I think it's fair to say, just to be honest, that back and forth, like the number of protests that go on now versus before.
Well, they were part of your political coalition.
Well, that's
right?
not. I mean, Senator Slotkin,
that's fair.
Obviously, I'm here.
Yeah.
I was very upset over the Biden administration policy, and as you can tell, I'm very upset over the Trump administration policy.
Yeah.
So let's deal not in strawman, but meet in
but
here
in
and
terms
now.
of what, so the tools that I have, the tools that we have in general, to me, the most important thing is a pressurized campaign to get aid into people who are starving. That to me is the number one, because that's the one is urgent and today. And
but will you cut off aid to Israel so long as they're committing crimes against humanity?
There is a difference between a weapon to protect a country from incoming missiles versus other type offensive and defensive weapons.
You know what? Okay, let's buy this argument, folks. Yeah, we need to defend Israel. Okay, I agree. I don't want to see any civilians die. Israeli, Palestinian. Okay, fine. We give Israel whatever defensive weapons. So you know what we should do then, folks? We should also give Palestine a golden, not a golden dome. That's what Trump calls it. What is it? Oh God, I'm having a mind blank. We need to give them the missile defense system also, right? So if she wants to make that argument, she better be fair about it. Then why don't we also give defensive weapons to the Palestinians who have mass numbers of civilians dying there too? Thank you, Iron Dome. Iron Dome. Sorry, Trump pollutes everything, even the words we use. So I mean, the argument here is nonsense. Anyway.
Are different.
So would you support?
And of course, I'm sorry. And of course, folks. And of course, we're not just sending Iron Dome rockets over to Israel anyway. So it's a non-answer. It's a distraction.
Offensive weapons ban. Like, would you stop any offensive aid to Israel?
That certainly, to me, would be a place to look. But I'm not going to cut off a blanket next sale on a defensive weapon that comes through. No.
I also reject that because, for example, if Senator Slotkin, if you were asked to support defensive weapons for Iran, defensive weapons for Russia.
Thank you, Crystal.
No, but
yes.
Iran, but
they're defensive. They're just protecting civilians, right? So how is it different?
But because
keep forgetting I'm on stream.
I mean,
so is
Iran.
Yeah.
So is Russia.
Ukraine's shooting at Russia right now.
I'm sorry. This is the difference between allies, partners, and adversaries.
Why is it an ally then? What are they doing right now that which makes it an ally?
I think allied relationships, just like Lithuania right now, like an allied relationship or a partner relationship is a long-standing relationship of information sharing and diplomacy. And
just a reminder, folks, do we remember some of the information that Netanyahu shared with the United States? One of the things that some of the so-called information that Mossad and Netanyahu shared with the United States was that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. How did that turn out? Special ally my ass.
It's not a every day we decide Lithuania is our ally or not. We're allied or not. And sometimes we have big breaks with allies, right? Sometimes we have difficult moments with allies. Sometimes it goes the wrong way with allies. But an allied relationship is a long-term relationship.
It's hard for me to understand why we should ally. I'm sure you believe in or claim to believe in liberal human rights. Why would we ally with a nation that is committing a genocide and live streaming it?
Can I ask literally, this, I think about this from the mirror image way, because I am not, I do not support the things that Donald Trump is doing, right? But I'm an American. So I want other countries to look at America and be like, we can't stand Donald Trump.
Alan, thank you for mentioning that. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Alan. Alan says Iran has been weeks away from WMDs since the 90s. That is not a joke, folks. You can find compilations even on YouTube of Benjamin Netanyahu claiming as long back as the 90s that Iran is gonna have weapons of mass destruction in the next 2 months, in the next 2 weeks, in the next it's that always Iran has been on the verge of nuclear weapons, apparently. And folks, I don't think anyone should have nukes. By the way, Israel and the United States included. But okay,
we're going to end any longstanding relationship we have with the American people. We're going to cut off any support we give them on information sharing or intelligence sharing. We are not just our elected leaders. And I think that's the thing that's been lost in the conversation.
What does that mean? I'm sorry. I'm going to go back briefly. What does she mean that we are not just our elected leaders? What?
Salem and another Israeli human rights organization joined the global consensus.
And I think that's the thing that's been lost.
I'm going to go back a little bit. Sorry. I just need to
stand Donald Trump. So we're going to end any longstanding relationship we have with the American people. We're going to cut off any support we give them on information sharing or intelligence sharing. We are not just...
Okay, yeah, right, because that's why people are upset with Israel, because of Donald Trump. Fox Emblem, I know. I am rather disgusted right now. My blood pressure is going up. Okay.
Our elected leaders. And I think that's the thing that's been lost in the conversation.
So B'Tselem and another Israeli human rights organization joined the Global Consensus, Amnesty International, some 800 scholars. There was a piece from an Israeli scholar in the New York Times in saying this is a genocide. Do you accept, even Marjorie Taylor Greene yesterday came out and said it's a genocide. Do you accept that? And if you do, I mean, what responsibility does a United States senator have for, this is a nation that, you know, we send every year.
On a side note, folks, according to international law, if a genocide is occurring, states have a obligation to do whatever they can to stop it. I mean, I know no one really cares about international law, apparently, but, you know, just a little side note, it is, if something is officially a genocide, you have to do something legally.
Billions of dollars to aid that you have, you know, voted for and supported. Like, what responsibility does a United States senator have to prevent genocide and to stop genocide that we see ongoing?
We have a responsibility up till today to ensure that food is getting in.
Is it
so
a
that
genocide?
People don't starve. I don't know that I'd use that term.
Oh my God, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind. Oh my God. Nothing is quite so repulsive as genocide denial. Like, I feel my eyes welling up right now. Like, you can't, I just don't, I just don't understand. I just don't understand the inhumanity of denying that. Those people, what they're going through. Imagine if you were one of them and you saw this, this woman, this random ass senator denying the suffering they're going through, the death of their children, their fear of dying every day. I mean, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely repulsive, disgusting. Fuck you, Slotkin. I mean, oh my God. Okay. Oh, okay, continue.
It is violating the law of war.
Why don't you use the term though?
Because I think, you know, it's, to me, do I think it's ethnic cleansing, which is what I think of in genocide? I don't know if it meets that definition.
Didn't you say it earlier? That it was ethnic cleansing? You said that they want.
Okay.
I mean, this is open from the Israeli government. Like, they're saying it. They're
and from
Mr.
Trump,
National
too.
Security. They come out and they're like, we don't need shells. We need shells, not food, and we need to encourage migration. Like, they're saying
you're not going to get me to support what the Israeli government is.
By the way, folks, this is also, yeah, she has received a lot of AIPAC money. A lot of this has to do with corruption. Another thing, folks, genocide does not only mean trying to eliminate a group, okay? It also can mean forced displacement. Now, of course, Israel is trying to eliminate, but I'm saying even if they were just trying to force displace, that would still meet the definition of genocide. Look up the Armenian genocide that the Turks did. Look at what the Americans did to the Cherokee people with the forced march they did, the Trail of Tears. All of those are genocide. You don't need mass purposeful slaughter for it to be a genocide, okay? Long Beach Dragon says, it's Slotkin MAGA. She sure thinks like one. You know what, Long Beach Dragon? This is a universal problem. Democrats and Republicans are pro-genocidal maniacs. Not all of them. A lot of Democrats are. It is a bipartisan issue, which means we have to love it, right? We have to love it because everyone agrees that genocide isn't bad, apparently, okay? We need to keep funding the genocidal state. Okay. Right. Okay.
Saying right now. I think the point I was trying to make is it's not just about, like, we have relationships with nations over time, regardless of who their leaders are. We have really tough moments. We have easier moments. But that doesn't, so I'm not willing to say that, like, I hate everything ever.
Sure, but so even if you accept that they're committing a genocide, you still wouldn't cut off their aid?
I think
Braden. Oh, I'm sorry. This is genius. Big Braden says Democrats are only anti-war when the Republicans start one. I'm going to say that again. Democrats are only anti-war when the Republicans start one. 100%. And to be honest, oftentimes they side with the Republicans when they start a war. But, Big Braden, thank you for that.
Aid and offensive aid are different things, and I think at this point,
so
what
if
they're
Nazi
doing
Germany,
every single day,
if Nazi Germany said we want defensive aid, I mean, it's just you have to see where they're all weapons that are being shipped. You know, in another context,
the weapons that they're using right now. I mean, to be honest, if you look at what's happening on the ground, the military part of this conflict is, for the most part, over. What they are doing,
Senator,
every single day is around aid, and they are hurting people.
They have slaughtered over 1,000 people who were just starving people, just trying to get aid.
That is not that's not high intensity bombs. That's not the weapons that that we were talking about 2 years ago. It's just not. I'm sorry. Every single day, the military reports that I read, they are traditional. Like, this is a military that has.
Okay. All right, you don't need to be a genius to understand how bombs work, okay? So they each have explosive power. So it doesn't matter if you have, let's say you have one bomb that has a massive explosive power, you could equal that power with 100 small bombs, right? So just to let you all know, I believe it's something like Israel has dropped, this might be a low count by the way, the equivalent of what? Like 3 to 6 Hiroshima bombs of explosives on Gaza. It doesn't matter if that was delivered as a small bomb or a big bomb. I d she's a se like, she claims to be an expert on the Middle East. She used to work in the CIA. She's a senator. Is she a moron? Does she not understand how explosives work? God.
A bad strategy. It is not the bombs that we were seeing 2 years ago.
It's not a military that has a bad strategy. The strategy is forced starvation
That
and
is-
ethnic
that is
cleansing.
not a-
That's
that is-
their strategy, and they're accomplishing it very effectively with the full backing of the United States government, including sadly Democrats.
Well-
and so a couple more questions, and I know you have to run. I'm curious why.
Fox Emblem, you're right. I should correct myself. Fox Emblem says she's not a moron. It's purposeful. Yeah, you're right. It is purposeful. Yeah, she knows exactly what she's doing.
Why you condemned Rashida
Maybe might be, I don't know. Maybe she's a moron. Whatever the case, she is either a moron or she is complicit and she knows what she's doing and she is a pro-genocidal maniac, or both. Who knows?
Tlaib for using the rally chant, from the river to
Yep.
the sea, something she said for her evokes equal rights.
Yep.
And you have not condemned Randy Fine, who said that Gazans should, quote, starve away, who floated that the Gaza Strip should be nuked, who called Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and Zoran as well, called them Muslim terrorists. Where is
I have
the
no
concern over
problem
him?
condemning. I have no problem condemning Randy Fine, who I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know who that person is. I have no problem condemning someone who talks like that.
Senator, we have to ask your last question because your staff is telling us. Do you think AIPAC should register as a foreign lobby?
Okay, I'm sorry. If you have to pause for that, no. By the way, folks, this is not an issue of Israel. Okay, I don't want any foreign government not lobbying the American government without registering as a foreign agent. I don't care if it's Germany. I don't care if it's Malaysia. I don't care if it's Rwanda. There should not be a organization that is secretly lobbying on behalf of a foreign government that is not registered as foreign agents. What are we doing? What is she doing? Yes, Tiago, free Palestine. I hope you had a good time at the beach.
I don't know the answer to that. I think that I know plenty of people who think they should.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Big Braden. It's not my job to decide. Really? Because I thought you were a senator. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know okay, no, well, you should. That's your job.
It's kind of a cop-out answer, don't you think?
Oh, you know what, Yash, you're right. I should say there should be no lobbying in the first place, right? 100%.
I literally, I just guess I'd have to look at the definition. I certainly have had my tough moments with that organization, and
So you
My
stopped
tough
accepting their funding?
moments.
you got to.
All while they were shoveling thousands of dollars into my campaign, it was a tough moment. I had to actually walk over and grab the cash from their hands. That's okay, Macy. Thank you, though.
You got to get your facts straight. I have not been endorsed by AIPAC. I have not. I'm sorry. I was the first Jew elected to the Senate that was not endorsed by any Jewish group. AIPAC, J Street.
You've been the recipient of their funds.
In 2018, when I first ran, people who were members, yes, but I've not been endorsed since then. And I just got to be honest. I think that this is where facts really matter. I've had very, very difficult conversations with my colleagues in that organization, and made a choice back in 2021. So that was the first time I was up for re-election. So I understand that there's a sort of again, cornered position, but.
Well, has it really, Alan? So that's been disproved. She's just lying flatly here. I mean, I'm not surprised. I just don't know enough about her donation specifically to fully comment. Thank you for that super chat, or not super chat. I'm sorry. Thank you for that chat. I love that name, by the way. Shit Luna, 50K gone. What do I think of Trump wanting to change the way people vote? Oh, just as average everyday fascism going on there, trying to limit the American people's voice, trying to cut people out of the electoral process. Yeah, okay, just another day here in America. Who cares? Pro genocide, getting rid of democracy, fascists marching in the streets, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Well, no problem there. Okay. Um, oh my God, did she really receive over a million? Disgusting. By the way, folks, I know not a good time for self promotion, but if we get 5 super chats, I'll put on some makeup. I'll complete the look. Maybe I'll put paint some tears on my face. We um the video we should oh yeah folks we could look up, I'll do that right now while I'll keep listening. I'll look up what it open secrets. I'll see who donors are.
To me, like, I call balls and strikes as someone who served in the Middle
I,
East.
I do. I have one more question I have to ask you.
Yeah, she that's funny though. She definitely calls in strikes, right? She definitely calls in strikes. She was CIA, so I'm sure she's calling in a lot of strikes, if you know what I mean. Accidentally slaughtering a wedding party, a family here or there. Sure, she does call a lot of strikes.
We do the show. I really do my best to try to uphold, basic human rights, Palestinian humanity, oppose the killing of innocent civilians wherever that happens. And I have to tell you, I feel really guilty that I'm not doing enough. I think all the time about, I'm a mom, I think all the time about those moms who can't feed their babies. Those babies are starving to death. And I just want to know, you're a United States Senator, you did vote for some of the bombs that were dropped on refugee camps. When kids have been sniped in the head, tents firebombed, people set on fire. The entire Gaza Strip turned into rubble. And now we're seeing these emaciated bodies of babies starving to death every day. And I
know what you can do.
Does it eat you up? Does it eat you up? Do you think, what more could I do? Do you regret any of your votes? Do you regret
let me tell
any
you what I
sort
was
of
working on this
complicity?
morning. A group of Jewish rabbis and Muslim community leaders came together with a proposal that we are working on just getting, if we can't get other aid in, at least get baby formula and nutritional supplements for children in.
Yeah, well, then at least
never has a
those
problem.
babies, well, they may not starve to death, but they'll just be burned to death in an explosion. So, I mean, yeah, of course we should send an aid, but she still wants all the bombs going in. Okay. Yeah, she probably does love white phosphorus. Okay, I'm looking up. So, folks, just going to pause you for a second. I'm looking up the industries. Now, I will say, I don't see any donations from AIPAC in her most recent election cycle. It is, though, possible that she gets individual donations from members of AIPAC or pro-Israel folks. I don't see it. Maybe so. If someone has a link to someone that talks about what she did receive, I would like to see that. Regardless, I don't see it, but I mean, I'm not surprised if that is the case. She did say previously that there were individuals that donated. So, okay. Alan said, "Oh, okay, AIPAC tracker. I will look that up real fast. AIPAC tracker." Again, folks, I always have to say this while we're doing this because I study fascism. I do understand that there is a horrific amount of. I mean, there is anti-Semitism in the world. Remember, AIPAC is not like a bunch of Jewish folks doing this. This is a combination of Christians, Jews, groups of people who do AIPAC. They're Zionists in multiple religions, and of course, not all Jews are in fact involved in this. I just want to say that. Let me see here. AIPAC tracker. Okay, let's take a look here. Okay, Alyssa Slotkin. Okay, Alyssa Slotkin. Okay, let's see what it says here. Oh my God. Yep. Nearly $700,000 in from pro-Israel interest groups. Okay, well that's great. Yep, well that's not surprising. Not surprising at all. All right, let's go. Let's continue this nightmare that we're living in, folks.
No one's trying to eat baby formula other than a baby, right? That is the proposal that I've been working on all night and this morning.
Okay, so is she implying that Hamas is stealing all the aid, like that other nonsense claim that has been proven false multiple times?
So in terms of what we're trying to do, there's not a moment that goes by that this isn't something that I'm working on and something that my own community, not online, but my own community has practical things that they want to do. They're willing to raise the money. They're willing to buy the formula. They're willing to do whatever we need to do to get it shipped in. That's how I spend my time.
But you're not willing to cut off aid to Israel.
To me, that to me is the most effective thing that I can do today.
This is not a question. Your staff is telling us you absolutely have to go. So we appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming.
Senator.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Oh my God, guys, I just love Crystal Ball. My hero. That was absolutely despicable. Despicable. I feel like every day I always find I feel like I'm always getting closer to vomiting when I see this sort of blatant genocide denial. Could I make the audio a bit louder? I will see if does anyone else think the audio needs to be louder? Maybe I'm talking too quietly. Reigning Chaos, welcome back. I remember you've been in here before. I've seen this clip of Slotkin on Breaking Point so many times, but I'll watch it over and over again. Yeah, I had not seen that yet. Yeah, you're right, Hamina. Hamas isn't even the only Palestinian resistance group. There's also Islamic Jihad. Um, I won't be able to hear you in the car. Okay, so can you all? Does this work? We're done with the video. So is my voice loud enough as it is now, or should I turn it up a little bit? Maybe I'm not too close. Audio's fine. Okay, thank you. All right. Excuse me. Was it Hakeem Jeffries who got over 1 million? I'm not surprised there. By the way, Hakeem Jeffries, someone that needs to be kicked out of office for someone who is stronger, someone who will actually fight against fascism and fight against genocide. Most of the members of Congress, I think at this point, not all of them, but most of them need to be booted out of office. And if we lived in a just world, they'd be put on trial anyway for aiding and abetting genocide. But anyway, alas, we're not living in a just world. We need like a new Nuremberg trials. Anyway, okay. Right, Elliot Waffles. Oh, okay. Well, if it's only traditional bombs, then I guess it's okay. No problem then, right? Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Okay. Oh, God, so many good comments. I'm sorry, I wasn't watching the comments so much. I got kind of caught up in this. If you can tell, I feel kind of strongly about this. What's even worse if you're defending them without any? Yeah. That's a good point, Yash. Yash, if she wasn't, if she hadn't received money and she was still defending it, that is almost worse. It's like you just are an immoral person. Then you just want to slaughter folks. God, Hamina, you're brilliant. Oh, of course, welcome back again, Hamina. Hamina says, "Guy, she's had difficult conversations." Yeah, okay, real difficult for her. One of the most senator and one of the most powerful people in the country, in the world. Yep. Yeah, exactly, Big Braden. Again, conflating Judaism with Zionism by her immediate response to AIPAC as well. I'm the first independent Jew. Yeah, see, that's what bothers me is a lot of this stuff, a lot of what that that side says, the pro-Israel side say, is it generates anti-Semitism because they're the ones doing the conflating. Okay. All right. Again, folks, if we get 5 super chats, I will put on some makeup here. I don't think we've gotten any in a while. I understand, though. It's, it happens. But if we do, you'll do that. If you want to become a member, God, sorry. If you want to become a member, you can click the join button on my channel for as little as 99 cents a month. If you do, you will get that cute little look at that little Jester hat next to the names of people in chat. You'll also have access to these adorable emojis, which I am now putting in chat, that you can use, and I've seen some of them used very well in chat today. So did she fire a staffer for that? What do we think? Maybe. Yeah, that's very possible, Alyssa. Yeah, she was under the impression she'd get a softball interview. That's a really good point, Alan. whoever set it up 100% got fired, almost certainly, because one thing that these politicians don't want is to be held accountable. Crystal Ball is a god. Crystal Ball can hold them accountable. I wish the rest of the American media were as ballsy as Crystal Ball. Okay, and yes, I did that on purpose. I thought that was kind of a cute little alliteration there, or pun. Okay, audio is fine. Yes, Hamas is just the biggest prison gain. Yeah, yep. Big Braden, absolutely. It's a giant open air prison. And I don't know about you, but having your water controlled, having your electricity controlled, being bombed every once in a while, that's going to cause some religious radicalization. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Buddhist, Scientologist. Okay, if you're being bombarded and starved, you're going to be radicalized. Okay. Yep. Yeah, she is part of the bourgeois. If you want to talk about Marxism, she definitely is bourgeois. Yeah, she owns a multi-million-dollar meat company. I am not surprised to hear that at all. Big Braden, I've seen Israeli officials talk about how the Jews who died in the Holocaust were, oh my God, I'm not even going to say that out loud, Big Braden, but I am not surprised. A lot of the Benjamin Netanyahu's cabinet are a bunch of monstrous genocidal maniacs. They should all be in The Hague, undoubtedly. Yeah, that is one of the most anti-Semitic things I've heard. Tiago Tiago again, become a member. The cult needs you, and you need the cult. Tiago, thank you for promoting me in a kind of backhanded way. I know, but yes, thank you for that. Of course, Alyssa would laugh at that. Yeah, I'm sure she would. Okay, Alan W. The Dems' silence on this issue has allowed the bad faith actors like Tucker Carlson to enter the space. Yeah. I didn't think about that, Alan. You're 100% right. Not because he's pro-Palestine. Yeah, you notice, folks, Alyssa Crystal Ball mentioned in this that, Marjorie Taylor Greene had come out against Palestine. I mean, not against Palestine, against the genocide. Not exactly a fan. And I'm glad that she mentioned that, but that allows people like Marjorie Taylor Greene to be on the right side of history, which make her look better, which is something we should not allow. Same thing with Tucker Carlson, who I am definitely afraid will someday run for president. And I think he has a good chance of success and by the way, he would be way more competent than Trump. And I don't mean that as a good thing. He would not make the same mistakes on his way to dictatorship that Trump would make, because at least he has more than one brain cell and can put words together. All right, guys. Looks like, yeah, exactly. They're anti-Semitic, and Tiago says those people are anti-Semitic, not pro-Palestine. Yes, and by the way, folks, there are folks out there, like, for example, Candace Owens, dare I mention her name, who have been anti-Israel, not because she somehow cares about the Palestinians, it's because she is anti-Semitic, 100%. Yeah. Big Braden, Nick Fuentes the same way. So, but yeah, okay, and that is 100% true. So not exactly a fan of propping up those people, but yeah, but it gives them, it makes them look better in the eyes of some people that they do come out, even though their reasons for doing it are in fact deeply, deeply, deeply anti-Semitic, especially Nick Fuentes, who was an open Nazi. So, okay, guys. What time is it? What have we been doing? Okay, we go almost 3 o'clock. So, folks, how about this? I am going to go off for now. I am very hungry. I will eat something. We I may come back on later. I'll see. I'm going to do some work on my channel and stuff. Some of the sort of grunt work there, some of the proletariat work, even though I guess I'm a petty bourgeois. But anyway, okay. So guys, any last donations I would accept. I mean, not any last super chats. I'd love to see them. If not, that's okay. We will. I may come back on later, may not. You do, Alyssa. Oh, let me know. Maybe you can let me know in Discord what it is you're doing for work now. I'm curious to hear. Did anything come of the meeting yesterday? No, not really. I know Trump called Putin. I don't think they've really announced it yet, have they? Have they come out of it? I'll take a look into it. If there's something being live streamed soon, I will definitely come back on later. I'll look to see if there is another live stream of some sort. But okay. All right, folks. Love you all. Let me do my thing. Okay, by the way, I'm going to get an emoji at some point of Chainbreaker in here, so we all have Chainbreaker ready for when I do this. But okay. All right, guys. Okay. Ugh, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, so I think you all know what I'm going to say. I'm actually going to switch it up a little bit today because the first thing I'm going to say is free Palestine. What are we doing? Free Palestine. They're human beings. They deserve to be free. The fact that I even have to say this, I mean, not for you guys, but the fact that this even has to be said is absolutely batshit crazy. Stop slaughtering children. Stop slaughtering people. Okay. Free Palestine first. Second, let's go. Okay. Second thing here, never stop resisting. Okay. Never stop resisting. The easiest thing you can do to resist is to think for yourselves. That is the easiest thing you can do. Think for yourselves. That includes when you watch me. I am not perfect. I make mistakes. We are not a cult. A lot of folks in my community have, in fact, been in cults or been in pretty oppressive religious situations, okay? Never stop thinking for yourselves, even when you're listening to me. Second of all, we are in a fascist moment, undeniably in a fascist moment, okay? Hopefully it's just a moment. I doubt it. We need to fight back against that. The easiest way or the best way to fight back against fascism is to make major government reforms. There are multiple ways to accomplish that. Some of them I can't say because the FBI may be watching. Regardless, we need to make some serious government reforms. Fascism is caused by people being alienated by their government, no longer trusting democracy, and using scapegoats to distract from the issues affecting them. So we need some major reforms. Lastly, on the wall behind me is, in fact, Chainbreaker. Chainbreaker is a sword from the Civil War. Okay. It is legend that Chainbreaker was responsible for the death of 7 disgusting slave owners. Okay. Never forget that people in this country and around the world, okay, in the past have died, outright died for freedom, for rights that we have, for economic justice, and we cannot let their sacrifice go to waste, people. Please don't let their sacrifice go to waste. Okay. Never forget that and always keep fighting for a better future. And on that note, folks, I love you all. Have a good day. I'll let you know if I'm about to come back on later, all right? Free Palestine. Goodbye.